Welcome to the Cultaholic Wrestling Podcast.
If you like a lot of wrestling on YouTube, join our cult.
I was worried we wouldn't sing that.
Yeah, no, we do.
Yes!
Even when Matthew's not here. Hey everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com, filling in for Matthew on the Cultaholic Wrestling Podcast. And I'm joined, as always, by Ross on Wrestling.
Hello, Jack.
And Tom Campbell as well.
Wow. First time doing
Is it
the
your
podcast.
debut?
It is,
it's
yeah.
your debut. How are you both?
Your life's about to change, Tom.
Is it?
For the better or for the worse.
I'm
It's undecided.
Are you giving me this back?
Oh,
Is that
you
what
get your mitts off. I rubbed that down with Dettol. Hard, very hard, and it's still ruined. Anyway, we need a new belt.
You certainly do.
And Tom, how are you? In fact, did you answer the question?
I'm fine.
Lovely.
Aye, bit
Lovely.
delirious after last night. Shot us straight to hell with Gail, Kim, and Lita deep into the night.
Oh, nice.
In the back of a taxi.
They were in the back of the
I was there as well. No, they were in the back of a taxi. So aye, bit delirious, me. How are you?
Apart from my cat having laryngitis, I'm all right.
Oh.
Well, I only found out this morning. He's getting a trip to the vets today anyway. But woke up this morning and...
Keep going.
Keep going. Sorry,
That's the cat laryngitis alarm. Woke up this morning. Normally he meows at me as I wake up. And this morning he's like...
Yo!
Oh, that doesn't sound good, buddy. And he did another one. He was just like... Sad cat.
Hopefully he gets well soon.
You'll be fine.
Right.
Bless him.
Speaking of health, we do have to, I mean, it's dominating not just wrestling, but everything at the minute. So we'll open the news by talking about the pandemic that is ongoing. And we'll talk about, well, there's not been an answer yet on whether WrestleMania 36 has been cancelled or not. They're going to delay it, am I right in saying, until Thursday?
Next Thursday, there's going to be a subsequent meeting with those people we saw on the YouTube last night. Unless Vince McMahon goes, nah, we'll step in here, we'll call it off. Which is, it's not likely, is it?
I mean, I wouldn't be... See, last night we were sort of ready to pounce on like the news once that meeting had concluded. But I won't be at battle stations ready for Vince to cancel it, I think, until Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, yeah, he's going to do it.
They made the decision to hold off because I think it was Jane Castor, the mayor of Tampa, who said...
Oh, you've done your research. Oh, you're a
heck
proper
yeah.
journalist.
On it
here,
like
okay.
a carb on it, mate. But she said, we don't want to make a decision on an event that's weeks down the road. Yet you've got the governor of Florida who's like, stop all social gatherings for 30 days. No one's coming into Florida. Let's put the barriers up.
In other sort of news related to that, SmackDown has changed venues, so that's going to be in the Performance Center.
No fans either.
I'm fascinated.
So excited.
How are they going to not hear the wrestlers call the matches? That's my main thing.
Matthew's "You Talk Too Much" segment on Botchamania is going to be like the whole video. I don't know, but I'm quite intrigued though.
I can't wait.
Do you think we'll be brawling in the stands? I'd love that.
I presume it will be like trainees.
It'll just be Matt Bloom and Norman Smiley going, yeah, boom.
Come on,
Yeah.
lads. Do the wrestle.
But I can't imagine it's going to be as packed out as like NXT was, for example, this week, or that halftime heat show where it was full of like friends and family of all the wrestlers and stuff.
It was essential staff. That's who's going to be there. So
Essential stuff to me sounds
that'd
like...
be one hell of a way to find out that you're not essential stuff. Imagine, I'm really important round here. I put the ring skirt on. You're not coming to work.
See you later, Shorty G, mate. No, I can't.
Does it say something about the state of SmackDown since it went to Fox, that the two times where it's been must-watch TV have been in times of absolute chaos?
When NXT invaded.
NXT invasion because they couldn't get out of Saudi Arabia, and now it's coming out of the Performance Center. I can't wait to watch.
I'm really intrigued. I'm really intrigued for it, and also for AEW as well, because those shows are also moving to I can't remember the name of it, the Plaza in Jacksonville.
Well, that's the weird thing, because obviously the governor of Florida is going, shut everything down, blah, blah, blah. But yet on Wednesday, AEW has moved from Rochester to Florida, to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And then the week after, Blood and Guts has moved to location undetermined.
Probably that
the Performance Center. Did you imagine?
That'd be great. In the
in
car park. There's been people speculating that maybe Blood and Guts, because it's a special, might be moved to further in the future when the situation's more under control, because they don't want to... I guess they might not want to have that match in front of a reduced crowd because it's the Blood and Guts match. It's Cody's take on War Games. But I don't know. That's just speculation that I've seen online. But yeah. Oh, and also I should mention that it was nice what Tony Khan said, saying that if any wrestlers feel uncomfortable about traveling or appearing on the shows, then their push won't, or their spot on the show won't suffer because of it. And that's really nice. You said yesterday it's
a sad commentary on the wrestling business, really, that he has to add that bit on the end. Your career won't be in jeopardy.
And instead,
Get yourself healthy.
and instead of everyone saying, yeah, fair enough, everyone's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
that's lovely. There was some wrestling to talk about last weekend as well, because it was Elimination Chamber. I've just written down, do you want to go through it match by match, or I've just written down some key happenings?
We can relive it again.
Yeah,
can't
we can go through it one by one. We don't need to go through
right,
it one
fair
by
enough.
one, do we? Because it was very much an up and down night, wasn't it?
Well, I suppose we'll touch on each of the matches, not the pre-show one, because
The main event was boring.
It
wasn't that.
weird.
They did the best they could in the situation, because obviously Shayna had to win the match the way they've built to it. But whoever structured that match needs a slap in the face. Why would you have Shayna stood there for like 5 minutes twice?
I don't know why they wasted so much time.
Yeah,
that was
ridiculous
weird.
scenes.
I always wonder whether there was I don't know whether it feels like there was some sort of miscommunication, because it should have surely been in that main event. All 4 women enter. And I guess you run the risk there of the crowd switching off, because when Ruby Riott and Natalya started, the crowd just sat on their hands like, we're just waiting for Shayna to get in. But whether you just kind of hold your colour and just go to like Shayna, Riott, Natalya, Sarah Logan, and Liv Morgan are all in the ring at the same time, and then you have Shayna come in and go, burr, 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 burr. Come on, Asuka, let's be having you.
Yeah.
It seemed
Would have flowed better.
It seemed like they were trying to do a similar thing to the whole Brock Lesnar Rumble thing, except with her winning in the end.
Yeah.
And the structure of that match doesn't really lend itself that well to it, but it was a weird one. But we'll start with the first match on the main show, I suppose, which I really like. Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak tearing the house down.
Solid.
D. Bryan willing to kill himself to
That
make
was
Drew
nasty.
Gulak. He did it 3 or 4 times, land on the back of his head. That weird little pile driver thing. Never seen that before.
The World of Sport spot
Yeah.
into the little mini.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was good, that.
Hairs in your eyes, that would.
Hairs on your eyes.
Live through that.
We saw hairs in other places as well as that match went on as well.
Yeah. Yes. I wasn't going to mention it, but
I did.
fair enough.
It's our man's private.
I didn't notice it. I didn't notice. I just saw everyone on
Daniel
Twitter.
Bryan be deeply offended.
not in that way. But yeah, I really enjoyed the match. And I thought even though he lost, it did wonders for Drew as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're going to team up, surely.
I'd
Because
like-
Brian was like, oh, I've just realised you're quite good.
That was his expression after the match. Next up was the US title match, Andrade and Humberto Carrillo. And at this point, I was thinking, this show it's going really well, because there was 2 really good matches of very different styles. This one was obviously more lucha libre. Do we agree with Andrade retaining the belt?
Yeah, and on the reactions, I was like, oh, he's just been out wrestled again by a heel, which isn't the way wrestling's done, really, is it? Like,
Yeah.
babyface is just getting purely out wrestled by a heel. But you watch it back and he grabs the tights, which I completely missed on the live reactions.
Yeah, but that's how Angel Garza seems to always lose. It's like a series of roll-ups that eventually he gives out to. It's like his weird kryptonite.
Yeah. I thought that Andrade would win, but I thought that it was going to build tension between Andrade and Angel Garza. This is a bit of I don't know if it's wild speculation or if everyone's been saying it, but I really want to see Andrade. I want to see Andrade be kind of usurped by Angel Garza, and he's got to kind of. Then Andrade is the babyface, and he's got to win back all of the belt, I suppose. I don't know what else.
I said Angel Garza was allergic to roll-ups. I meant Humberto Carrillo.
Oh, did you say?
I thought I'd get that in there because
Fair.
by now there's 37 comments that was told. Actually, if you're paying attention.
Well, we haven't addressed where Matthew is.
Oh, where's Matthew?
We didn't bring him in, did we?
What do you mean?
He was in Germany.
Yes, that's right. I didn't.
Oh, we were not meant to mention
I
that.
don't know if we're mentioning it or not.
Are we not?
I don't know.
It seems a bit weird not to.
Yeah, fair enough.
He is the host of the podcast.
Yeah,
Matthew's back next week.
Matthew's fine, but
Yeah, it was just a precautionary measure.
we were following the advice. So yeah,
Matthew's back next week.
yes,
Yeah.
The official line.
But he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. It was just precautionary stuff.
It's weird, isn't it? What's going on in the middle?
Yeah, I just thought it was a bit weird that we didn't mention it.
Sorry, yeah, that's my fault. I've got so much to think about when I'm doing this. I don't know.
Blink twice if he's not all right.
No, it's fine. It's just made me respect Matthew a lot more, because I always think, oh, the presenting the podcast easy, and then last week I was forgetting to plug the Patreon. Anyway, but I did manage to do his. Oh, you're doing, pal.
Oh, you doing, pal?
Hello,
Mrs. Greg, by the way.
Oh yeah,
She
she
watches,
watches.
doesn't she?
Hi, Elaine.
Do you think she watches? Oh, we're on first name terms with her, are we?
Certainly
Of course
are, mate.
he is. He's one of them who all the mams love. He gonna see his Tom coming round. He'll make him an apple pie.
Set my own.
Do you think that she watches the ones that he's not on?
Avid fan of the podcast,
Okay.
I've been told by Matthew several
Sticks with
times.
Fair enough.
She moans when it doesn't go up on time, apparently. That's how dedicated
she's one of them.
she is. Oh,
Next up was the tag team elimination chamber match, which I actually quite enjoyed. I thought that was good.
the Lucha House Party made the match fantastic.
Go on.
Well, they just kept falling over, didn't they?
Well, Lindsay stole the show, and I'm biased, but Lindsay did steal the show at first with that big.
He's very lucky.
Yeah.
How he didn't break his legs or his ankles when he got his legs caught in the chains and he just flopped down.
Oh yeah.
If he was like 10 pounds heavier, his tibia and fibia would have snapped.
They were a bit like people that spent 7 hours in spoons and decide to go dancing, in the sense that they've got all the commitment and the passion, but not a whole lot of the actual balance and the decorum to nail it.
One thing that I really didn't get was when Otis and Tucker go, Lindsay, when he's on top of the pod. Is that to tell him start climbing now?
That was exactly what it was, but I don't think Lindsay heard him for the first sort of, because it was literally Partridge and Dan, wasn't it?
They
for
really-
a good 10 seconds. Oh, Lindsay, start climbing, son.
They didn't even really try and disguise it. There was a lot of that in these 2 Elimination Chamber matches because the pods were individually mic'd. Yeah.
Liv more. I thought that was somebody had got a clip from the porn and put it in there. Because the way she was like, oh yeah, oh.
I watched that back. I think she did actually.
And she does. She
Do an
100% does.
She doesn't.
She liked seeing Ruby Riott getting bitch slapped around by Natalia.
Fits Liv Morgan's character, doesn't it? As much of
Being
a
turned
as
on
much
by
as
that.
much of a character as she's got, bit weird, bit unhinged. Fancied Lana once for some and doesn't. Yeah, that was weird. Also, no, we'll get to that when we talk about the main event. But in this match as well, the fantastic bit was when Heavy Machinery got involved, and then they were chasing. Oh, it was just like chasing Ziggler around.
I wasn't a fan of Otis's part in that. He let Ziggler off the hook, so he did.
Did he?
When you notice he comes out the pod and he finally gets his hands on Ziggler. Sorry, Tucker throws him down. It's
And he
one hell of a
catches him.
catch.
Really
yeah.
impressive, yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. And he does the old thing on the top rope. He just lets him sit there while Tucker has to do his dive off the top rope. I was screaming, going, why don't you kill the man?
Do you think-
He's taking your Mandy.
Yeah, they should have had a bit of a segment of him battering him around, and then Tucker can do his big.
Yeah.
Tucker's amazing.
He is good, isn't he? Don't trust him still.
I know. You've had your words.
You
on
should
Twitter.
trust him, though. The performance on, I don't know if you saw SmackDown last week, but he wrestled for a solid 90 minutes on there. Then Elimination Chamber.
He's class.
Oh, yeah, he's
I'm
good,
a
isn't he?
Tucker fan.
All
I
night,
want- I
Tucker
want
night.
Tucker and I tweeted, I want Tucker and Lindsay to ditch their partners and team up. I know it's blasphemy for Otis fans out there, just because Lindsay's partner let him down, because Lindsay did that huge shooting star press off the top, and then Grand Metalik just immediately got pinned, and then Otis just left Tucker on his own, crashing through the. He let his head went. He needed Gary Lineker to be there saying, "Have a word with him." That was a great. I really enjoyed. I don't care they left the door open. I like the way that he fell out the chamber. It was good.
It's just a fun how in Elimination Chamber law, it's like hot lava, the floor in it. Jericho couldn't get back in, and neither could Otis.
Otis's fall though was big.
Yeah.
That was good. And it all boiled down to, what was it? The Usos, the New Day, Miz and Morrison.
Hey, hey.
Hey, ho,
Ho,
ho.
ho.
Miz and Morrison.
Catch you, innit?
Well,
Work on that. Work on that. We'll hear it tonight on SmackDown with all 12 people chanting it.
if the New Day and the Usos could have just put their rivalry aside, one of them would be tag team champions by now. But
What do
no.
we feel about the way Kofi got eliminated? I thought it was bitterly disappointing.
When he dived off the pod.
Just
There
fell
was
off
no
and then
water in the
uncovered him.
pool, as Jim
Yeah.
Ross likes to say.
Maybe it was it was meant to be. There was a couple of callbacks to the last year's one. Like he jumped on top of the pod at one point. But yeah, it was a
But
bit
I think when this
disappointing.
time last year, Kofi was like defying the odds, defeating 1,000 people in an hour to like, oh, I fell off the top rope, I've just been pinned.
I know.
Ah, well.
Well, it's just another step in Kofi's. Kofi's?
Oh.
Bloody hell. In his decline. Did you see Matthew's tweet?
Which one?
The I will go sailing no more. The Buzz Lightyear one. Oh, it's so sad. Check that out on Matthew's Twitter if you haven't seen it and want to get your heart broken. I think Woods replied to it saying like, I can't take this anymore. Or something.
The Miz was meant to catch him on that one, surely. It's the one at Super Showdown where he does the twist fall over the top rope and then lands on his back. Miz was meant to catch him there, and Miz just jumped out the way.
Well,
surely.
I don't want to assume things.
Oh, I'm assuming hard. You wouldn't just book have it booked so you do that, surely. Even if you're Kofi Kingston and a Bionic Man.
I
That's
remember
horrible.
Trent Beretta did it at a Wrestle Kingdom in the past few years. He did a swanton almost over the top rope and just landed on the ramp. Oh, it was grim.
Darby Allin did that coffin drop onto the ring apron.
Darby
which has similar
does-
things. Like,
I'd expect it from him. Though.
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't remember the next match on this show.
It was,
It was either the handicap or bloody
AJ versus Alistair.
Yeah.
No DQ.
Right, well, this annoyed me. I mean, they wrestled well. What's this?
This was the match.
It was the clincher.
Oh, right, for the congratulations, by the way.
Get
Yeah.
your mitts off.
I feel like the match. I mean, the wrestling was good because they're good wrestlers. But why? I don't want to sound like Brian Alvarez here, but why did Gallows and Anderson sell?
Oh, yeah.
Why, in the words of our own writer Justin Henry, why did they not charge him with flaming 2x4s? It's no DQ.
It's true.
Yeah.
We didn't even have a bit where AJ was like, lads, I want you to stay at
Lads.
ringside. I've got the job done. Like, we didn't even have that. We just
Yeah.
stood there, like, and then they were doing stuff behind the referee's back.
It's no DQ. And then, of course, they got involved eventually when AJ looked like he was going to lose. Lights went down, came back up. I'd love it if just once the gong wasn't the Undertaker, just to shock everyone. But it was, and he's just punked out AJ again, and he kind of rescued it. I think it was you saying that, maybe, or maybe it was one of you, about the promo on Raw kind of got this feud back on track, because we'll get to that in a bit.
I feel like you would have said that.
Yeah, well, it's just turns up, doesn't he?
Well,
Silly choke slam.
But AJ's,
Went wrong a bit again.
we've just been
Maybe
shown
AJ can't do chokeslams.
Yeah, maybe. Are you? Wow.
moves are easy.
Maybe.
It's all about
Moves
little
are easy,
things.
mate.
Maybe. Well, I just can't see that AJ's on Undertaker's level at the minute in kayfabe. It's just in Saudi Arabia, AJ hadn't really wrestled. He danced a lot, and then
He countered with Mike Chioda, which will take it out of you.
yeah, well, Mike Chioda's a vigorous counter, as we well know.
Oh, I love it.
Two.
I love a good animated ref, though.
Yes, yeah, I really. I've noticed that Bryce Remsburg in AEW is really good at. He almost sells the move with the wrestler. He's like,
so
someone will, like
good.
land on their back, and he'll be like, "Oh, it's really good." So that match was another loss for AJ, but maybe he's got it back on track.
I'm happy that Alistair didn't lose for a second time in the space of 6 days.
True.
Yeah.
True. What I've lost track of what was after this one.
So it was the
Handicap
handicap
match.
match next. It was.
Intercontinental Championship.
Right. So in my mind, the match wasn't anything special. I didn't really enjoy it, but it was means to an end.
Yeah.
And that end is Sami Zayn finally being IC champion, as he should have been 4 years ago.
1,770 days after he debuted
Was it?
in that match against John Cena, he
Bloody
finally
hell.
won a bloody main roster title.
Wow.
That's a long time, that, isn't it?
That is a long time. Any title,
Any?
even a tag one.
No, it hadn't out.
His career has literally been the NXT Championship, and then
Kevin Owens.
1,000 years later, the IC title.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Progression.
But I tell you what, I've retweeted one hell of a thread that somebody put together. The WWE didn't intend to do this.
oh,
It's
is it
just
Myth Gifts?
the arc?
or
Yeah,
Myth?
with a purple Twitter profile
Yeah,
picture.
they do. They do. They're really big fans of Owens and Zayn.
Yeah.
I'm saying they because I don't know if it's a man or woman, and not just like there's multiple people, but yeah, they go
Aye.
really in depth.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Go and have a look at that.
They should be a writer for WWE.
They should.
Yeah.
Come to Cultaholic.
What else was? I've lost track. Was
Then
that
it's
it?
the main event.
Then it was the main event.
Main event
Oh right.
talk.
Oh well, we've talked a little bit about that, but some things I think we should. First of all, I enjoyed the comparisons on Twitter to Natalia being like an angry mother. Like, you like that? That's going to be you, because you can tell that Natalia is a really nice person, and when she tries to be angry, it's not quite convincing.
don't
enough
buy
of
it, do you?
Not really.
It's
No.
I feel really bad for her because continuously they have her booked in scenarios where you just care less and less and less and less and less and less.
They have her as the third person in a feud where you really want to see these two other wrestlers wrestle each other.
Yeah, there was that bit on Raw recently where she broke up Shayna and Asuka, which I know obviously they were teasing this chamber altercation, but still have someone else than Natalia do it. We don't like her enough as it is.
Oh,
The kayfabe, you know what I mean?
yeah.
She seems a nice lady with nice
yeah.
cats.
Totally. I feel like that door keeps on opening, but it's not. It's just
Ooh.
crinkling a bit.
Crunchy
Go
door.
and kick it, Tom.
So I go kick
I
the
think
door.
it's slightly ajar.
Kick the door until it becomes a jar. There we go.
Oh, fantastic.
Sorry, Matthew.
This match, get back in the cupboard, man.
Get in there. He's fine.
It was the structure of this match that a lot of people that divided a lot of, well, not divided a lot of opinion, that annoyed a lot of people. But then again, it was the correct booking decision. It was just, it didn't make for an entertaining match in a weird way.
No.
I was disappointed to see Asuka not get much in, but
She was injured though, wasn't she? They
the
played that
wrist,
up well,
isn't it?
yeah.
So they've kept the door open for. I presume Asuka will be one of the first foils for Shayna.
yeah.
when Shayna inevitably becomes the Raw Women's Champion.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's a little bit more in doubt for me after Raw. We'll get on to that later, though. We'll get on to that later.
I feel like this every week.
Yeah.
I switch who I think is going to win at WrestleMania, but we might have longer to. Well, we'll talk a bit more about that at the end of the podcast. But
I thought it was a shame the Riot Squad didn't really get much. We had Sarah Logan and Ruby Riott have a bit, but then Liv Morgan didn't get some.
feels like they've really cut the middle out of that story.
Yeah.
Because like, there's the shocking turn at the start when Ruby came back, and then there's not really an explanation. And then now they all hate each other. Sarah hates them as well.
So I think Sarah was sort of like the stuck in the middle at the beginning, but then she's just sort of just joined in as well. There's a bloody lack of effort with that storyline, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. And you can tell that they all three of them really wanted to work as well.
They've got matching tattoos, for Christ's sake.
I think it was, I think Alvarez was saying it to Big Vinny V or one of them on the review of the show when he said like, have you ever had an argument where two of your friends have been arguing and you're the one in the middle and you don't pick a side and you don't step out of it? You just think, I hate both of them. And Vinny goes, oh, yeah, I have. Yeah.
To be fair, that's normally most. If two of my mates are arguing, I tend just to go to the bar and let them crack on.
But Sarah
don't
Logan,
have the energy.
Sarah Logan didn't go to the bar. She kneed them in the face.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of going to the bar.
Okay. So that was Elimination Chamber. And just a couple of other news pieces before we move on. Davey Boy Smith is finally going into the Hall of Fame. Which is
Whether he wants to or not.
Whether he wants to or not. It's one of those ones that seems quite long overdue, I think.
Massively so.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I'm really excited to see him go in.
Yeah.
This is... and I can't help but feel... And it's fine if this is the case. Like, WWE suddenly have this shiny new deal with a brand new service provider in the United Kingdom. Like one of their biggest audiences outside of America. So this is the year that Drew McIntyre is in the main event.
Now,
the British Bulldog is in the Hall of Fame. Can't help but feel. But again, I'm not complaining
Les
about
Dennis
it.
in the celebrity wing.
now, first of all...
Lady E, bring that on.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone at BT Sport for that interview with Sheamus. Thanks very much.
Definitely.
But also, yeah.
And again, I've not got an issue with it. I think it's perfectly done.
Right.
Why wouldn't you if you've got a new platform in one of your biggest audiences? Why wouldn't you go hell for leather on that? I'm fine with it. I'm happy for Bulldog going in.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm offering me and Matthew to induct him.
And also, in slightly more sad news, I guess, Razor from the Authors of Pain is out for, probably quite a while. I think he tore his bicep, was it, on Raw?
It was a bicep, yeah.
In that big main event. And so I read somewhere that often that can be like you're out for sort of 6 to 8 months or something like that.
Just comparable to Batista in the Ruthless Aggression era, wasn't it?
Oh.
No, it's not.
Oh, right, I don't know.
He's just that Mark Jindrak's about to join the Authors of Pain. I'm ready to go, lads. I got my suit.
Oh, no. Rollins goes to give someone a pedigree. He just gets flashbacks. It's like, no.
Just picturing Jindrak and A-Cam in the back of a car, one of those machines that makes noises of animals.
Oh, I saw that.
I'm a Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? But why did Triple H, it seems like he found them both incredibly annoying, but he realised that Randy was good. So he was like, I'll put it with him.
Yeah.
But not Jindrak.
Not Jindrak. Which I thought was a bit harsh on
Yeah.
Jindrak. Yeah, he doesn't have that. He didn't have that it thing, that it thing. But he can jump really high,
One
as we
of the
saw.
first matches I ever remember watching was from I think it was on WCW Worldwide. I think it was from a Nitro, and it was Jindrak and O'Hare.
They were fantastic together.
Against the Misfit in action. Misfit! That was great. It was obviously General Hugh G. Rection and Lash LaRue. What was he?
Corporal Cajun.
Corporal Cajun. Great time.
Do you know the story behind Major Stash from the Misfits in Action?
Private Stash.
Yeah, he was going to be called
Who was Private Stash again?
No, he was going to be called Private Stash, but because he got upset because Private is a lower rank to the others. He went, I don't want to be a lower rank. Yeah, but Private Stash makes more sense. No, I want to be a Major. All right, fine.
Who was Private Stash again?
Who was it?
He was.
Oh, was it Lash LaRue?
No, that's Corporal Cajun.
Corporal Cajun.
Was it Van Hammer?
Yes, it was Van Hammer. It was Van
Van Hammer, the big guy with the blonde hair?
That's the
Muscle
one.
man.
That's the one.
What better way there to end the news?
Everybody get excited for the Cultaholic Hall of Fame!
And now it's time for everyone's favourite segment. I can't do it, Matt. How does he introduce that one?
No, it's time for everyone's favourite segment.
No, it's time for everyone's
Hall of Fame.
favourite segment. See you soon, Matthew.
Love you.
The Hall of Fame, of course. Now, last week's results were distressing, to say the least, for me. Vanessa Paradis, Joe Lataxi, what a tune. 2% of you thought that was worthwhile. Thanks, everyone. Windmills, Pachi's one, which I thought was going to win because it was
So did
Pachi.
I. Yeah.
41%, but Ross, you've done it. You've won with Jake the Snake Roberts. A relevant one in the podcast, a wrestling-related one.
Yeah, that's what I do now.
I know you do.
Apart from Biscoff, I've learned my lesson.
It's cheap.
I know.
Anyway.
I'm going wrestling again.
So Jake the Snake Roberts is in the Hall of Fame, and because you won last week, Ross, who are you going to put in this week?
I'm going to go for Gail, Kim, and Lita.
Okay.
Because they were so accommodating for this Straight to Hell. We did it the way they did it. In the midst, they've been doing on this big tour to promote this kayfabe project they're doing, and they managed to squeeze in a good half hour in the back of a moving taxi. Yes, it dipped out a couple of times, but I really appreciated how accommodating they were, because some other people might have just gone, nah, I'm a bit too busy. I'm in the back of a car. I want to sit back and close my eyes, or maybe even read a book. But they were like, nah, we'll do it. We'll just hold our phone there for half an hour.
That's really nice.
So it is nice, aye. And they were a hoot as well.
That's really
A
good.
hoot.
So you've gone for Lita and Gail, which
Lita.
at first I was thinking, like, have they tagged together before?
There must be a random episode of Heat from like 2003 where they must have.
Yeah, surely.
Something like that.
Well, it's good to hear that they were really
They were
accommodating.
nice, yeah.
Where were they?
The west coast of America.
The West Coast?
The west coast.
Ah.
So we were up, me and Richard were in here very late last night. It was like late afternoon their time. So they were just very nice ladies.
Fair enough. Yeah. I feel like, I mean, obviously Lita was like one of the biggest women's wrestling stars ever. But Gail Kim, because she spent a peak years really in TNA, I feel like she gets a bit underappreciated.
She
at
made the
times.
big. She said that she was like she didn't really find herself until TNA.
She had some
So
great
what-
matches with
yeah.
Awesome Kong, for example, of the Nightmare Collective.
Is she?
Well, don't know. I mean, Luther's still knocking about.
He got a contract. That's new. That's the biggest bit of news we missed off this week.
news.
Luther has signed a proper official AEW contract.
Thank goodness. Could do some good news this week in the wrestling.
Right, so you are nominating Lita and Gail Kim.
2 for 1.
Fair enough. Tom?
I was going to put in the reception worker at BBC Newcastle, only because I was on last week. And
This is like one of my picks. This is good. I'm enjoying
yeah,
it.
they were eternally friendly to me every time I came in. It was always morning, Tom. I liked it. So thanks for having me, BBC Newcastle. That was fun.
And thanks for playing Joe the Taxi.
That was it.
Yeah,
That tied in so
cheers.
nicely. So I went in on the one morning, and one of the first songs I had in there, it was about the day after we talked about it. One of the first songs out of the block was Vanessa Paradis, Joe the Taxi.
I thought-
Big shout out to Jack,
Really?
Cultaholic.
I did not realise that. I know that you hadn't just picked it out of the blue. I knew it would be part of. I just thought it was part of a selection you could choose from.
Well, we do there's a feature on BBC Newcastle between 12 and 4 called Time of Our Lives.
Yes.
Where it's all songs from one year. And it
Yeah.
just so happened to be
Oh.
that year was the year that Vanessa Paradis, Joe the Taxi came out.
It's
so it just seemed
written
obvious that we...
in the stars.
Yeah,
That's
so I
Gary
appreciated
Campbell.
having a little bit of a moonlight as that. But I was either going to put the security guard from BBC Newcastle in,
Yeah.
or the combination of HT Drake and Little Miss Roxy.
I went for them once. I tried to put them in.
Did you?
Because you're wrestling them.
Yeah, and I feel like if
I
I-
want them to win because they're the good guys.
I have my one only wrestling match tonight
Oh.
in the Northeast in Long Benton for MEW, and I feel like if I put HT Drake and Roxy into the Hall of Fame, they might be nice to me. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
You're going to go for them?
Yeah, all jokes aside, HT Drake and Little Miss Roxy, like two fantastic professional wrestlers from the north of
Of
England.
course.
Massive.
I
fans.
feel like at the time a lot of people are watching this, they could be battering you as you are
Yeah.
watching this now at the time this goes out.
Can you hear him?
Good job, he's wearing dark pants.
Maybe your tag partner / client, Mickey the Dragon, can save you.
Why haven't I put Mickey the Dragon in the Hall of Fame?
Well, it's too late
Oh,
now.
no!
Ah.
Mickey the Dragon. Right, sorry, Drake, Roxy.
Oh.
Sodger, 11th hour decision. Mickey the Dragon, the greatest British wrestler of all time, going into the Hall of Fame
You're going to
this
get
week.
your flipping head kicked.
Mickey
in.
the Dragon, my client. The
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar to my Paul Heyman. Mickey the Dragon's going into the Hall of Fame.
If you are in the Newcastle area tonight and have got nothing to do and you've just seen this now,
And you're feeling well enough,
just get a taxi to the Innisfree Social Club in Long Benton and you'll see Tom.
get yourself a Jola taxi.
Get yourself a Shoulder taxi. We're having a great time. I'm gonna nominate. Right. So I thought about this. And before, I know that we've nominated like Tubman before because he helps set up the podcast and he does a lot of hard work here. So I'm gonna go for another member of our editing team / my flatmate, Owen. At Vintage Owen on Twitter, because, right, first of all, if you've seen that massive Intercontinental Champions list on the channel, he edited that.
That was
Owen.
all Adam.
What?
Just a guy was speaking to Owen the other week. Like one of the top comments was like, Adam does so much for the fans here. He must have worked so hard on this list. And I was like, oh, did you see that comment? He's like, yeah, I did.
That was Owen, right? That was Owen who edited that. And it was written by, I believe, Jack Atkins, who is a writer who does a bit of freelancing for us sometimes, and they both did a tremendous job on that. And Bachie did a great job on the voiceover as well. He did.
He just read other people's words around other people's editing.
No, I'll never.
There's an actor presenting a list which I can't do, but
the voiceover thing, Bachie is very good at it. But I remember once I wrote one of the big ranking ones, and the top comment was something like, "Adam's so good with these little jokes," and I was like, "They're my little jokes." But no. It's always nice when a video where several people have worked on it always comes together, but I do feel like Owen deserves a big shout out for that because it was like an hour long, maybe longer, and he edited all of it. And also I feel bad for him because he's a diehard Liverpool fan, and this week obviously they crashed.
Oh, what a shame!
Out of the Champions League.
What a shame as I drink out my Newcastle mug.
I watched it with him in the flat. I just got back from the interview with Sheamus, got out of the train station and that. Heard in my Uber on the way back from the train station, "You'll never walk alone," booming out of the radio. I thought, I'm going to make it the kickoff here. Got in time. He's like, "Come on, you're going to miss the match. I'm really doing him a disservice here." Watched it. It was a thrilling match for the neutral, but Liverpool crashed out to the delight of many neutrals around the country. But I feel bad for Owen because he's a lovely lad and his team hasn't seen much success recently. No, he handled it really well. He was disappointed, obviously, but they're going to win the Premier League anyway, so...
Yeah. Wait, they might not?
Well, it depends on what happens, yeah.
Mikel Arteta?
I know.
Callum Hudson-Odoi?
Yeah.
Maybe more by the time this podcast's out.
I know. Everything's in turmoil. But yeah, I'm going for various reasons, and for being a sound flatmate as well, with never any dramas. Bills are always... We work together really well.
He's not one of those tossers who leaves his dishes in the sink, is he?
Not at all. Not at all. He's the very opposite. He's a very, very good flatmate.
That was the one part of uni I did not like.
No.
I can imagine you kicked right off.
Don't like mess, Tom. Do not like mess.
Well, Owen is... I mean, the communal areas are always pretty sound in our flat. But I imagine... I don't know if I've seen the inside of his room recently, but I imagine his is like absolutely spotless. He seems like a very neat and tidy person.
He does always come in with his hair
on point.
It's always in the same formation.
4-4-2. Yeah. So I'm going for Owen at Vintage Owen on Twitter. Cheers, mate. Hope you can hear this in the other room, me nominating you, so that you're nice to me when I come out.
Oh, you did hear that?
What?
You just
I
screamed?
heard that. Yeah, it was good. So, in summary, Tom, you've nominated
Mickey the Dragon.
Ross,
Gail and Amy, my pals.
Gail and Amy.
No, Gail, Kim and Lita, the wrestlers.
Yeah, and I've nominated Owen, my flatmate / hardworking editor at Cultaholic / diehard Liverpool fan. And to vote for those, nearly forgot again this week.
Doing great.
To vote for those, I'm blown up. You can vote at patreon.com/Cultaholic.
This is This Week in the Wrestling. It's this bloody week in the wrestling.
Yes, it is time for This Week in the Bloody Wrestling, as Jen said there on the jingle. And we'll start with, we always say this, Tom, we always start with SmackDown, but especially when it's been a pay-per-view and loads of stuff's happened, we're like, it's time for SmackDown, which feels like an eternity ago by this point,
really
especially
does.
this week. So anyone got any general thoughts on SmackDown before I dive into what happened?
Tuckey
Okay,
wrestled for 90 whole minutes.
he did. Good for him. No, that's really good. Well
Yeah,
done.
it was good.
Yeah.
I was just impressed by the cardio of heavy machinery.
Yeah,
Like,
fair play.
genuinely blew my mind watching them big lads go for so long.
Got a few highlights of what happened on the show. So first of all, moment of bliss with special guests, the NWO,
Of course.
who are set to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And then I've put X-Pac laughs at Nikki saying the word 6 in her Scottish accent.
That was cruel of
It's-
WWE.
It's classic Cultaholic banter, I've said.
I made a WTF moment. They watch us. Of course they do. Triple H is a massive fan of Wrestlers of the Week. But they
No,
had...
AEW are fans of Wrestlers of the Week.
Who are?
AEW.
How do you know that?
Every week, they've started to do a Wrestler of the Week, and it's always one of their wrestlers. Well, obviously, they're not going to be like, it's Seth Rollins. But
Who hosts it?
it's just an Instagram post that says, your Wrestler of the Week is blah, blah, blah.
I thought it'd be Tony Schiavone going, it's time to get down on Friday for AEW's Wrestler of the Week.
But my Instagram I get tagged every week now with people going, "You stole Jack's idea," and I'm like, "No, don't. I want to keep relations good with AEW."
Yeah, Jack. How dare AEW steal the concept of having a best wrestler of the week?
SmackDown once did a top 10. A top 10 wrestlers
We
of the
invented
week.
the top 10
No,
list.
we did.
Furious.
But they did steal laughing at a Scottish accent saying the word six, though.
Yeah, Jen would tell you all about that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Tom, it sounds like she's saying sex.
Oh, yeah, it does. Oh. Why would she say that? Okay.
They are interrupted by Sami Zayn, pre-IC title win, of course, because this was on Friday. Nakamura and Cesaro, they arrive, they all exchange words, and Sami says he could drop the NWO.
Of course
Love
he could.
that. Yeah, of course.
I was a big fan of Kevin Nash as Zinger.
Yeah.
I know in this era of the older lads putting down the younger lads, it's not very, we don't look upon it with much fondness.
Yeah.
But when Kevin Nash called Sami Zayn a malnourished Seth Rogen or something like that, I laughed.
Yeah.
It was good. I like Kevin Nash, me.
I don't like Kevin Nash.
Do you not?
I feel like he was dealt a really strong hand in life.
But yeah.
7 foot, good looking, fantastic mane of hair. and he rubs it in other people's face. I think he's a bully, Ross. I think he's a bully. No, I don't. He seems like he's mellowed quite a lot with age.
I could watch him talk for several hours, me, and be thoroughly entertained from start to finish. Unless he's eating a salad.
It was a
Or
lasagna.
a pasta bowl or something like that.
Tom, me and Ross went to WrestleCon in Dallas, right? And it ruined Kevin Nash for us forever. Because we saw him get out of his Jola taxi, wearing, well, could you guess what would you think Kevin Nash would wear on his feetums?
I reckon, because you're so outraged, I reckon he wore Crocs.
He wore Crocs.
Oh, what a guess.
I think they were black ones,
Amazing.
though, on brand, but
Oh, that's all right then. NWO Crocs.
I guess when you're that large, you need a bit of comfort.
Ventilated feet for life.
Yeah, I suppose so. But you were really impressed by Razor.
The aura of the man. I was just behind him going up a lift and just hearing him speak with his voice. That's his natural voice.
Yeah.
Imagine looking that, like, as big as that and having that voice.
Yo.
Did he call you Mang?
No, I was just sort of behind him, like, it's got hole.
That was a crazy WrestleCon, that. I think I used a urinal next to Brian Cage. I've never felt so inadequate. No, it wasn't. It was Hernandez from the LAX. Oh, God. I thought he was going to just chuck me over the top. Yeah, Braun interrupts them and takes out Nakamura and Cesaro. He chases Sami off, and then he too sweets the old fellas.
How cool's that?
Get these hands.
Boyhood dreams come true for Braun Strowman.
Kevin Nash not insulting Braun Strowman, is he?
No, he's not.
No,
he's
funny that.
not.
I think your bully theory holds water.
Whoa, pick on
Hey, I'm
someone
going to pick
your
on the
own
skinny
style.
Seth Rogen. Oh, here comes a big lad. Yeah, you can too sweet with us.
To be fair, I don't know if the theory pick on someone your own size applies to Kevin Nash, because he is very big. There's not going to be many people his own size, I suppose.
Strowman.
Dolph Ziggler distracts Dana Brooke during a tag match, allowing Fire and Desire to pick up the win over Dana and Carmella. Later on, Otis meets with Mandy and apologizes for Valentine's Day, but she says it's too late to apologize.
It's all come back. It went in two directions, 2 different times in this show. We had Mandy pissed off with Otis for standing her up, and then later on, she was concerned watching him wrestle. And then Ziggler's like, "What, you doing, pal?"
Yeah?
Yeah. But I don't think they know what they're doing, because it's going one way and then going the other way. Well, maybe that's just
Like-
this game called love.
It's like the bit in Hercules where Hercules and Meg have fallen out. It'll all be all right in the end.
I think she wants Otis, doesn't she? She
That
wants
would be
him.
a fantastic payoff.
She wants him.
That would be a fantastic payoff, but
Want them to
Ziggler's
kiss.
not letting her have him.
Vince isn't going to let the storyline play out the way we all want it to.
Why would she want to
Yeah.
go with the big man?
She wants
to go with the sexy, voluptuous.
What's it about Dolph Ziggler? I mean, he's an attractive man,
Yeah,
but
of course.
he's no Miroslav Barnashev, is he?
Is that Rusev?
That's Rusev, real name.
I just feel like Ziggler, Vince is not going to look at this story and see Otis as the good guy.
No.
He's not. And there'll be people around him going, maybe, Otis should win this way.
No, why would she want to be with him? Look at that gut.
I think whenever WrestleMania is, if there is a moment when Otis wins and she jumps into his arms, that's going to be brilliant.
I know.
Savage
It's
and
gonna-
Elizabeth.
Yeah, and then they start doing all sorts of... Then we have
Wait,
to bring
wait,
it our
wait, wait,
superstar.
no.
Suddenly the music hits, out comes Gary Strider. Wow.
Rest in peace.
Steals Mandy.
So
Is Gary Stratton dead?
I think he is.
Oh, no, I
I don't know, though. I don't know. I just said it just to cover our backs. in case.
Okay. Gary, if you're there.
Let us know you're all right, Gary.
Gary, if you're there.
moving very swiftly on the Firefly Funhouse, Bray says that Cena, Rambling Rabbit reminds Bray that Cena beat him 6 years ago at Mania, sending him into a downward spiral. Bray says that Cena created the Fiend and he's going to get his revenge.
He's got severe short-term memory losses, Bray.
Why?
Just didn't care about the Universal title.
Yes.
6 years ago, though.
Yeah. Kofi as well.
Yeah, Kofi.
Lost the belt.
All these stuff.
Do you reckon when you lose the belt, you just get amnesia? It's like you never had it.
Block it out. Repression, I think it's called in the old psychology. A-level psychology coming back.
The worst thing is as well that it makes it seem, in Kofi's case, like he thought, that's enough. I've won it once. That'll do me. Which kind of put a dampener on his whole heroic rise. But in the Fiend's case, yeah, it just seems like he's totally just switched track. Well, he has.
I get it, though, because his character's all about revenge and getting his own back on people, doing a big DBP.
Yeah.
But it's all about control and power and stuff like that, and surely that's what the Universal title brings.
Yeah. Yeah, I disagree with that theory that big monstrous characters like Kane back in the day and like The Fiend shouldn't have the gold. Because
They're trying to be a wrestler.
well, yeah, they spend. I don't know. I don't want to think about them like in a ring with other rookies.
They all start out with Dr. Tom in the ring.
don't. But I disagree that they shouldn't want a belt because, like, why not?
You can make it in your own face and sell them for $7,000.
Exactly. In Lucha Underground, Mil Muertes was a kind of similar character. He won the belt, and I'm not saying that they do this on Raw or SmackDown, but the next season when he was champion, the arena got gradually more dark and disheveled. Oh, because his power was taking hold.
Love stuff like
It'd
that.
be nice to see if SmackDown did that.
No, I love that.
I didn't. I just looked up and just heard the end of the noise he made. I thought you were scoffing. Like, that's ridiculous.
No, are you kidding? I love that kind of
I
nonsense.
honestly thought you were like,
No,
no.
Lucha Underground was because they had shortly after that, was it the Monster Matanza who won it?
Yes, Jeff
And-
Cobb.
Yes,
I mean, not Jeff.
And man, he just does a similar move to Jeff
Yeah.
Cobb. But to go back to your point about like the Fiend should want the title again, I think the fact that the Fiend blatantly isn't figured into Roman versus Goldberg, it's probably best that he doesn't sort of acknowledge it too much and just crack on with whatever he's got to do. Because if he's there going, "Hey Goldberg, I want my belt," like, yeah, no one's looking at you, mate. It's gonna be bad. You just got to focus on Cena and carry on.
It does, yeah. It doesn't make sense, but it's for the best.
Yeah, yes.
Elsewhere on the show, yes, Heavy Machinery survived the gauntlet all the way from the beginning until Dolph and Rude sneak a win at the very end, and that let them enter last in the chamber, but they didn't win.
But we should mention the glitch because it's every time Ziggler's on screen now. I think it happened during the women's tag match as well, but there was one with Ziggler at the end there when he was with Mandy backstage, and then at Elimination Chamber, it was Ziggler. They were literally stood this distance from the TV and they didn't notice it, either of them. Him or Bobby.
Who is it? I've seen people suggest it might be Mustafa Ali.
Oh, Ali. I was thinking, who the hell's Mustafa?
Colonel Mustafa.
Oh my god, what a return! That would be. Yeah, because the ring of circles is the thing he has.
Wow.
It's the Cultaholic logo.
Cultaholic
the old
logo.
one. Which that's not why we rebranded, I should say that.
That is exactly why we rebranded.
So do you think it is, Ali?
It's either him or Killer Cross in it, but I think I saw someone say there's something on NXT that's relating to Killer Cross now, but I didn't see NXT.
Oh,
in
we'll
full.
get to that later
Yeah.
on.
Mustafa Ali is the obvious one,
It's Ali.
which is fine.
What's his issue with Dolph?
I think it's his issue with everybody, where it's just like, I've been overlooked, so now I'm gonna
Dolph
mess with the
Ziggler.
television until I'm looked at.
Ziggler segments are the reason those wonderful promos could not be included in SmackDown.
Why?
That's the kayfabe reason for Ali going after Ziggler.
Oh, I see.
You're taking me airtime, you prick, and no one cares.
Fair enough. Monday Night Raw now. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair both cut promos almost consecutively on their WrestleMania opponents. Becky's is good. Actually, before I move on to the Charlotte one, what did you want to say about it?
The fact that
Shayna
she was
thing?
just back to being an old Becky Lynch, the Becky Lynch from summer of 2018 to about the start of this year. Nay bollocks, talking, sounding mean, not following up, but, you know, I guess we can't have everything at once. But it was a very much... Compare Becky to the week before to this week, and it's chalk and cheese, isn't it? She's just back to being the sort of nay bollocks. A pint of brew ale. That's their branding, isn't it? No bollocks.
Nay
I don't know if it is anymore.
Which
Which annoys me a bit, the fact that she is, because I kind of like the whole Becky Lynch just being like, "Well, I'm the man."
Delusional.
Silly costumes.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. And then just getting battered at Mania.
I
and
like the way-
hoisted by her own hubris.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, that story would make sense. But I'm a short-term man. I'm a wrestling fan. I want stuff here and
I'm
now.
a fan of a wrestling man.
I want the here and now, so I do, and I'm here to play.
Have you had a brown
Great
ale?
rap in there, mate.
Have you had a brown ale since moving up to Newcastle?
Oh, mate, I've been living on brown ale.
Do you like brown ale?
I found one pub in Newcastle which, for about a year, did brown ale on draft.
Rare.
Love a brown ale, but
nowadays.
they since pulled it,
Yeah.
which is a shame.
You like it?
Love brown
You like
ale.
brown ale, Ross?
I love brown ale, mate.
Right.
You're not a fan?
We only drink Vauxies. We never drink brown.
Tell you what, though.
Sunderland boys are in town.
Oh.
We are the Sunderland boys.
What's your
much
thoughts
rhyming.
on when you get the bottle of brown ale and you get the half pint glass? I've got no time for that, mate.
Oh, just drink out the bottle.
Yeah,
Drink
no
out the
time
bottle.
for that,
What are
mate.
you doing?
Yeah.
If it's not on draft.
Tell you what, though.
Out of the bottle.
Out of draft as well. Copperberg. You ever had it?
Oh, I've not had it out of
Oh
draft,
my
no.
good lord.
Ooh.
Woo!
Intriguing.
A future Hall of Fame pick there once the summer comes around and I can titivate my taste buds once again.
I feel it boring because I'm not
nice.
really an ale man. And if I'm drinking lager, which I don't really do much either.
Copperberg's not an ale, it's a cider.
No, I'm just thinking when
I
you're
don't
when
like
you're talking
ale.
about brown ale.
Yeah, I don't like ale, but I like brown
Copperberg.
ale.
Of course, you're talking about Copperberg.
I love a real ale.
Do you?
I'm
It must come
a
with age.
purveyor of real ale.
Copperberg's too fruity for me. I like a bit of a sweet cider, but not a fruity. I like a woodpecker.
You might.
and stuff like that.
There is some ales you might like. Some sort of
Oh,
golden
don't
pale
be one of
ale.
these. Oh, nah.
You might do.
J-Cat I like. That is it, though. J-Cat and brown ale. I can't do much thicker and darker than them two.
I had one called Golden Sun in a pub garden in Shifnal in Shropshire.
Oh, that's
A
the
few months
Monty
ago,
style.
of the
I
sentence.
sat with my mates.
It's not a Lord of the Rings, this.
Sat with my mates Matthew and Dickie Dodd, and
Where's this going?
in Shifnal, and we sat there. It was lovely summer's day, lovely pint. Oh, I'll have another one of them, another one of them. Woke up in my hotel room the following morning with cuts all up my arm,
What?
all over my head. I'd gone home and fallen in a hedge.
Oh.
And by the looks of it, I'd lay in the hedge for a little while before deciding to get back up again.
You are.
I did that at Freshers Week. There was like a nice hedge. It was Tim Westwood that night. And Tim Westwood, by the way,
Pushed you in.
was messed up when he arrived. I think drunk, maybe. Who knows what might be going on there. But he tripped over a wire and knocked out the power for one corner of Sunderland. So everyone was just told, get outside. And I just went and laid in the bush for about half an hour. Frosty Jack's is wonderful. Well, it was wonderful.
Oh,
back then.
Frosty Jack.
I was.
We used to be a special.
We used to get 3 litre bottles of that stuff and polish it off before going out by mixing it with some black currant juice. Make a nice little snake bite. But then I found out it was made by onions.
Yeah.
Frosty
And then went off
Jacks.
it.
Are you trying to stay warm in Stuart Park? Drink Frosty Jacks.
It was
Jeez.
It was student days.
£3 for 3 litres. You couldn't go wrong.
Outrageous. Charlotte also cut a promo, which ended
cares?
she drank Frosty Jacks before she started.
that ends with Rhea coming out and dropping her with a right hand. But it would
Wow,
continue,
it looked bad.
it would continue on NXT though.
That punch, though.
It wasn't
I
Becky
normally
Lynch.
don't really call out the botches in wrestling.
Okay.
Or like missteps or whatever. But that looked particularly bad, I thought.
Right.
Both in the sort of nature of the punch and Charlotte going, oh! falling down in stages like
You've
she did.
struck me.
Yeah.
AJ Styles calls out The Undertaker. Says that, to be fair, I agree with you since watching this. This was a fantastic promo. Says that 10, 15 years ago he might have been scared, but now Taker's just a broken down old man named Mark Calloway.
Boom, that's his real name.
He also says, I'm sure he says like, and if you didn't know this, but everyone knows, Taker is married to Michelle McCool, and she's the one forcing Taker to keep coming back, and says, I read that on my notes there, I was like, did he say that? He did. He said he'll make sure he dies in the ring.
Yeah.
He'll kill him.
Yeah, but it's funny how, Michelle McCool lambasts WWE.com staff on Twitter for leaving her out of this gallery for International Women's Day.
Yeah.
And then the next Raw, after that happened, she's brought into the storyline as a horrible arsehole gold digger who forces her poor husband, who can barely walk, to do wrestling so she can buy nice things with his money. It's
isn't it?
weird how that happens, isn't it? Isn't it, Tom?
It's very
funny how the
peculiar.
world works.
Almost as if they planned it.
I
Sounds like they planned it.
also saw some suggestions that AJ was just annoyed at Michelle McCool because she stole the Styles Clash back in the
Took
day.
it to new heights.
Did she?
What did she call it? It was had some sort of biblical name, didn't it? Back in the
Angel's
day?
Wings.
Angel's Wings. Is that what it was?
Or was that Daniels' move?
I can't remember.
was called the McCool Slam.
Yes, it was. We loved it to this day. MVP cuts a promo. I'm really enjoying MVP at the minute. Says he wants to build a stable of talent and he wants Edge in it. And Edge comes out and he's like, here he comes. Look at him. So intense. Edge is intense for a different reason. Totally ignores MVP. Takes the mic and wants Randy Orton. MVP mentions Beth Phoenix because he's annoyed. Second promo in a row we've mentioned there where my wife has been mentioned. Edge has had enough. He spears him. Here comes Orton. Edge hits him with an RKO. Orton runs away, so Edge chokes out MVP like Jake Hager himself and hits another RKO and then some concertos and just batters him.
Now, there's a crucial difference, but I've been told it's the same move by numerous MMA experts in the YouTube comments.
There's a difference.
Edge had his hand, had it rested on his face somehow. I don't know how to do it, where Hager, he classed him like that.
Well, I guess Hager was just securing it more.
I reckon Edge learned it from Hager.
I don't think that move suits Edge.
No.
I don't think it does.
It did with the facials, though. Edge has got a wonderful, expressive face. He's the male Jen.
It just felt like in terms of all this anger, it's a very personal story. Like, it felt weird to go, I'm going to bust out a new submission. I've learned. It seemed strange time.
I thought he seemed he was like the Punisher. He was vengeful. He was like,
Possessed, wasn't he?
To you. He's great at intense face, you're right. Just as you mentioned, Jen there, forgot. I hope she had a good birthday and I enjoyed all of the old legends fighting over wishing her the best birthday.
Oh my gosh.
That was a bit weird.
That's a dream, that was.
What? My question is, that's never happened to any of us.
I wonder why.
I really just want Triple H and Yoga's. Oh no.
Gary
Sumi.
Stridham.
Do you mean Sumi, who was in the Greatest Royal Rumble?
I mean Sumi. Why can Triple H and Steve Blackman not be fighting over my birthday? Jack, man. Earlier in the night, Seth Rollins' stable attacked Kevin Owens as he arrived. They asked him what did they ask him if he wanted some popcorn? And he went, no. Threw his bag.
His suitcase at him.
Later on, Seth tried to recruit Aleister Black, who said, no, but I'll fight you because you knocked on my door. Rollins versus Black, though, ends with a DQ because Murphy gets involved. Black's getting beaten down.
It ended with a murder.
What happened?
Aleister Black disappeared. He vanished off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be part of the tag match.
Yeah, surely.
But no.
He just went away somewhere. I hope you're all right.
It turned into a tag match while Black was crying in the back. It was the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits versus Rollins' stable, which needs a name.
It's called The Movement. He's called it The Movement several times now, which
wonderful.
is a really underwhelming, basic bitch name.
Bit vague.
Didn't they sing Flowers in the Rain?
Flowers in the Rain?
That's the move. Sorry.
Oh.
Good joke there.
Has it gone over your head?
I'll keep that for Matthew.
Yeah, he would have been like, oh,
Love that Joe pal.
love that. Oh, yeah, Dave.
I heard that on a Commodore 64.
I love Contra. Rollins gets the win with the stomp before Owens attacks with stunners. He's recovered from the beatdown before, but Rollins lays him out with a few more curb stomps, and that's that. That's the end of the show. Bit of as we'll get to in just a second, bit of a similar ending to the way that Dynamite ended as well, but we'll get to that in due course. Was it a good Raw, do you think?
It was all right, wasn't it? It wasn't. It's not been as good as it has been in recent weeks, but I thought it was all right.
They had a couple of solid weeks. This one just sort of felt like, okay.
Yeah.
The AJ promo for me was my favourite bit. Like, because it definitely sets the stage.
About that
Brum, brum, brum.
Oh.
Brum, brum, brum.
He was on backstage, and Renee was like, "Why were you saying this?" Then and AJ was like, "I want to know if I'm talking to the Undertaker or this guy on a motorcycle who does this stuff." And I'm thinking, why would he even mention? What that we've seen on WWE would hint at AJ having to speak to this man on a bike?
Yeah.
Unless he's been watching just the network and got a bit confused.
I want the man on a bike. I want the man on a bike.
To be fair, I'm on board with it, mate. He's just a bit different. I'm a bit bored of the Undertaker's entrance and
Me too.
how it takes 10 minutes and whatnot.
A little bit. Moving on now to AEW Dynamite. Like Raw, I feel like it was a bit of an underwhelming week compared to recent weeks for AEW, but it was still an alright show. It opened with Cody beating Ortiz with the figure 4, which people were saying online actually builds up to that blood and guts match because you can only win by submission or surrender. But he gets attacked by Santana afterwards. Kenny Omega and Matt Jackson run out for the save. Jericho appears they ran out for the save, but Arn Anderson had already sorted it. They were scared of Arn anyway, and then Kenny and Matt Jackson ran out looking all hard, but Arn was there. Jericho appears on the Tron and reveals that the Inner Circle have beaten down Nick Jackson and trapped him beneath a metal shutter, and he's taken to hospital. Well, I just thought it was a bit of an industrial beatdown. He's just under this thing with blood dribbling down. It's bad.
Yeah. I just used my Bob Mortimer there.
Bob Mortimer. Yeah.
Train.
Yeah. Hey.
Train.
Yeah,
train
so I
lads.
beat him down.
Your orange polo neck, yeah.
Put him underneath the yellow shutters. Anyway, you were an exquisite pigeon.
Right, we're talking about
Have a cappuccino on me.
for any American probably viewers out there.
No, let him be confused.
Okay, fair enough.
I was going to nominate him for the Hall of Fame this week, but I forgot.
Have his noises been getting more and more? Yeah.
Anyway, Cody, have a cappuccino on me, and you are an exquisite ferret.
So good. So good, yeah. Later on.
It was trending on. He did one early this week, and it was the top trend on my Twitter. That's how much traction the train gets. Train guy.
Daniels challenges. Right, Christopher Daniels might be the stupidest babyface in all of wrestling. He challenges Evil Uno and Stu Grayson to singles matches to prove that there's no Exalted one. He's going to get battered.
Oh, he might be the Exalted one.
Triple swerve?
Yeah.
No.
Surely not.
No.
That would be underwhelming.
It's got to be Matt Hardy.
It's got to be Matt Hardy or, Brody Lee. Because
Yeah.
they're not in that part of the world anymore, are they? It's been changed to somewhere else. Jacksonville, was it?
Yeah, it's gone from Rochester to Jacksonville, yeah.
A hometown pop and all that theory.
I feel like it'll still be Matt Hardy, but
I hope it's Matt Hardy.
I'm trying not to be disappointed if it's not.
Yeah.
Because I was disappointed when Hager came along, and he's been good. They've
He's
used
been
him well.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you not think if they've set it up for all this, if they teased it for all this time, it's going to be Matt Hardy and it's not? Do you not think that's bad form on AEW? To be so blatant as to go, read down here and it says, Matt Hardy is definitely the Exalted one. And then when it's not, that's pretty bad form.
Maybe.
I've just realised we've done something worse than the commentary team on Dynamite. We completely skipped over Lance Archer's debut.
Oh, God, yeah, I forgot to write that down.
I didn't understand why the commentary team were just like, oh, there's Lance.
They should have been freaking out.
That Jim Ross, but by God, he was like, he's a big man. That man, he's a killer.
Like when Kane debuted.
Yeah, but it was just sort of like, he's a killer. Him, he's there. It's just Lance.
It just seemed weird to go, the whole debut of him was just like walking out through the crowd.
Yeah.
There he is, done.
I thought it was slightly better than Jeff Cobb's debut, which was, we've got a mystery guy, and his name's Jeff Cobb, and he's coming up in an hour and a half time. Where has Jeff Cobb gone? I guess he really was just a mercenary.
It was just a two and done.
Wow. Well, maybe he'll come back later on.
He'll be back. I like Lance Archer as Jake's client. That
So
makes
I. Yeah.
loads of sense. A lot of people complained not a lot of people, because the majority of what I saw was just love for Jake Roberts, who was just a phenomenal promo guy in 2020.
Yeah.
But there were people who said, surely if he was a surprise, why did he have entrance music and a Tron and all this stuff? You suspend your disbelief a little bit. But on this occasion, you probably could have done with a big walk down the entrance and a big in-ring moment for Lance Archer. It just felt a bit more subdued.
Yeah, that would be if Jake was in the crowd and then he goes, or
Yeah.
and then down comes Lance Archer.
It's the big NWO.
Aye.
All right. Who started that? Was it NWO? Was it the Click? The big double-handed point?
It'll be one of those
Was
lads.
it Bischoff?
It was Dragon Ball Z, wasn't it? It was Fusion.
Yeah, but I don't think the Click were watching Dragon Ball.
I bet they were.
Kevin Nash probably hates Dragon Ball fans.
Did you and Harley used to do that?
Yeah.
Watch a Dragon Ball?
Happy birthday, Jen. B. Priestley attacks Nyla Rose after they beat Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida in a tag team match. And then B is sort of established, which is weird.
Because Shida is still, I think, the number one contender in the rankings, and it looked like she was being built up to go against the big bad Nyla Rose.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, B comes in after not having a match since December the 11th or 12th,
Right.
something like that. And she's straight in there.
Yeah.
Wins and losses matter.
Well, I guess that AEW haven't officially said she's the next number one contender, so maybe she's. I get that it's a heel trying to jump the system and be like, if I just beat her up and she challenges me, then fair enough.
We'll have to see what happens next week.
Yeah.
I just think with the rankings, because Shida was definitely top, isn't she? She's the top.
Shida was, but I don't know how this loss will have affected her. Oh, it's a tag match though, wasn't it? Anyway, then later on in the show, Britt Baker came. Why does Tony keep inviting Britt Baker on these things?
He's a glutton for punishment, isn't he?
He is. I think he fancies it.
I think he fancies it.
Big Swole comes out and seems to start a feud with Britt Baker. Britt Baker says, "You're not even the wrestler in your family that people, in your household that people care more about your boyfriend," which is a lie.
Yeah.
And it's Cedric's not.
They don't. They really
I
don't.
I didn't know that until she.
Oh, did
said
you not?
that. Yeah, I had no idea.
Then Big Swole went, "Well, he's not my boyfriend. We're married, baby." And everyone went, "Oh, that's your boyfriend."
Cut to Adam Cole in the crowd looking shocked.
Just with his hat. What? He has to do it whenever someone says his name. He's like, what? And then that chased each other off and that. And I guess that Big Swole's gonna probably lose that feud actually.
You'd think so. I like Britt Baker now, me.
Yeah,
I
I
was
do.
never sold as a baby face. I never got it. I never understood why she was getting such a prominent role. But now she's good at being hated in a really like understated manner, just the way she goes on.
Yeah.
She's just a generally like unlikable person, isn't she?
Is she your favorite? Is she your favorite wrestling dentist ever?
No.
That's it.
Of course she's not.
His favorite wrestler's Kane,
Oh, there you go.
And he is definitely not Isaac.
and he's
Yankem.
close friends with.
his
Nice.
brother, his twin.
Yeah. Where was I? Oh yes. Hangman and Dustin. Well, this was another example of a weird reveal by AEW. So this whole show was built around the main event, going to be Hangman and a mystery partner taking on Jericho and Sammy Guevara. But then, just midway through the show, Dustin's backstage going, "I'm his partner, whether he likes it or whether he wants to." Or not. And then,
When did Bulldog got announced after Dynamite, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He got
That's a
announced.
shame. That would have been a
Yeah.
nice little. If Dustin did that on purpose.
he says
Partner whether he wants to or not.
he's going to be his partner whether he wants to or not, which made me think, has Hangman got someone there who's disappointed now and has to be like, oh.
Well, I imagine Hangman's the sort of guy that would have just walked out with a beer and gone, "I'm just going to fight you
Yeah,
both."
they did mention on
True.
commentary that he saw Darby Allin last week and was a bit.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Fair enough. Well, it was Dustin. He was his partner, whether he wanted to or not. And they did win, actually. They were a good team because they're both cowboy. Dustin's a bit of cowboy. Yeah.
He lives on a ranch.
Yeah, fair enough. And he used to look more like one.
A ranch?
No, cowboy. He used to look like a ranch.
You have like cows grazing. On.
Yeah. And then the Inner Circle beat everyone down after the match. Then commentary were like, they've got no friends left, but it turns out they'd got back from the hospital just in time because they'd went. What are you doing there?
Matt Jackson?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, right. So the Inner Circle.
thought you were being mean.
The Inner Circle are beating everyone down. So then everyone runs out to try and save the day. Kenny runs out, but he gets beaten down. Cody runs out, but Hager takes him down. And then they drag Hangman up to the top of the stage. They're about to do what they did to Moxley last week and powerbomb him off. And instead, Matt Jackson runs out and is just running wild like Goldberg.
Yeah.
Batters everyone.
Yeah.
And then he stops and takes his eye off the ball because he's a dick.
And then Jericho starts hitting people in the head with a chair.
They got their hands
I know
up.
they
It
got
was
their hands
weird,
up, but
though.
it was the visual.
Yeah, it was strange.
The precedent they're setting there. It's dangerous.
All the Inner Circle just posed really happily. And I thought it was for the second Dynamite in a row, but Brandon Stroud on Uprocks pointed out that actually it's the third Dynamite in the row because the one before the pay-per-view they stood tall as well. So for 3 Dynamites in a row now, the Inner Circle.
Well, they're going to get beaten blood and guts, aren't they?
Well, but next week are they going to stand tall? How many
Yeah.
weeks are they going to win for?
Forever.
Yeah, forever and ever.
Kind of
So-
feels a bit like WCW in the 90s. I'm just going to put that out there. Every episode end with the NWO beating somebody up.
Yeah, but I think
It's not like WCW in the 90s. Just want to put that out there before Angry AEW Fan 25 tweets me.
over the divide now, cross the divide to NXT. There was quite an eventful show from the Performance Center, of course. Tom, did you enjoy it? Because obviously you
I
degraded for
really
it.
enjoyed NXT. Like generally in ring, NXT has been solid. There was just a really fun atmosphere at the Performance Center.
I feel like this week they had the better show of the two, and that's coming from a massive biased AEW fan.
Well, I said the opposite for a couple of weeks. When I watched both, I went actually AEW picked them, but this week I preferred NXT.
Yeah, me too.
Out of the two.
Keith Lee defending the North American title against Cameron Grimes, but was attacked afterwards by Damian Priest. So then lovely Dominic, ran out to help his pal, and then Keith Lee spirit bombed him.
That's because Keith thought it was him who attacked him.
Oh, was it?
Well, that's what they weren't massively clear on commentary. They've kind of left a bit of a question mark because some people went, "Oh, it's because Keith saw Dominic holding his North American title, so Spirit bombed him out of anger." But the general consensus is that
Because Priest
Keith
hoofed
didn't
him with
see-
the nightstick from behind, didn't he?
Yeah, so Keith just thinks, that was you. Eat a Spirit bomb. The big boy North American division in NXT is phenomenal. Cameron Grimes had a good showing as well.
Yes.
He's good, isn't he?
Yeah, very good.
There was that match he had with Pete Dunne ages ago, and it was like, whoa, you're really good, you. Because I'd never seen much of Trevor Lee in Impact, but yeah.
I've never felt so indie as when we were in the the MMA room that we were using for interviews at Wrestling Media Con. And I try not to be all fanboyish around wrestlers and that, but I was in my little PWG phase, saw Trevor Lee there, Cameron Grimes. I was like, oh. Went and
Did you
shook
take
his...
him down in the octagon?
No, I didn't. Went and shook his hand and said, oh, you're right, I think I was trying to get an interview with him, but he was busy. Came back, and I remember Pachiti being like, who's that? I was like, oh, it's it's just an indie lad, mate. Don't worry about it. But then Pachi has since obviously learned who he is. So.
A big missed opportunity there. Could have had Santana Ortiz on Straight to Hell.
Oh,
they ran out of time. I was gutted.
That is sad.
Looking back now,
yeah, and they were big even then, but now
they were even bigger now though.
That was when Moose made Pachi look really cool in front of all the fans. Because outside, Pachi was like talking to a few people who recognized him and that. Moose walks out in his heel gear, like big glasses and that, and he's like, Adam, hey! It's just like, and Adam's like, you all right, Moose? And we were just like, it's as if Moose was more excited to see Adam. Later on, Kushida beat Raul Mendoza, and later on, Raul Mendoza is being kidnapped by masked men.
Los Conquistadors.
Yeah.
Why would anyone go in that car park alone?
And why did Raul Mendoza not put up more of a fight?
It was more the fact of why Raul Mendoza was just wandering around the car park in his gear. It was the bit I was unsure about.
Waiting for Uber Eats.
Was that what it was? Oh, the driver's just said, I can't find you. Oh, the performance said, oh, come outside.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happened. And he's waiting for his Uber Eats, and then he just gets kidnapped.
Come here. Have you got my kick-ass burrito? No, we're going to kick your ass. Get in here.
Do you think that it is Killer Cross?
Do you know
I thought it was your guy from Lucha Underground, isn't it? King Thingy?
King Cuerno.
Yeah.
Oh!
That was it.
That's much better. Not that I don't like Killer Cross, but I'm a big fan of King Cuerno.
King Cuerno started doing some stuff on the NXT live tours.
They had lucha masks as well.
Who would the other guy be then?
King Cuerno.
There was two of them,
there's two of them. Oh, I thought they were just like
his tag partner whose name escapes me at the moment.
Oh, really? He's got a tag partner?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not as exciting.
I believe so.
I don't want him to be a single.
Or a manager.
His old thing in Lucha Underground, he was a hunter. He used to hunt his opponents.
They've got an archer.
We can have an archer off one day.
Wait for it, Ross. King Cuerno has one of the best suicide dives I've ever seen.
I've never seen. I might have seen a few highlights back from Lucha Underground days, but I don't think I've seen a full match.
He's good. Oh, he knows what he's doing. Although he is approaching his late 30s, I think. I hope he keeps all of his agility and everything, because his suicide dive's something else. It's him, Dragon Lee, and I was going to say Phoenix, but sometimes he goes a bit out of control.
He'll bust it out at Full Sail.
Can't wait.
Straight off the balcony.
No, be careful.
Oh, yes.
Preserve that man. I'm just a huge fan. Later on, Rhea Ripley's cutting a promo, but Charlotte Flair interrupts and they brawl. Charlotte gets the better of it. She wraps Rhea's legs around the ring post and does the old Bret Hart, the ring post figure 4. Ooh.
Nice little wrinkle to their match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like, Rhea, Charlotte Flair is confident, but she's making sure Ripley goes in injured. Nice little.
I forgot to mention that on Raw, Charlotte was saying that, you might have been to Tampa and seen the arena, but when it's full, you're going to be in trouble. Now I think Rhea's got the edge because she's got experience in the empty room.
This is my house now with no one in.
That was awful. I apologize. The main event, but not the main segment, the Broserweights beat O'Reilly and Fish despite interference from the Grizzled Young Vets, who it looks like are being set up for a tag team match.
I'm thinking triple threat tag title match. Vets, Broserweights, UE. I love how Zach Gibson and James Drake have just inserted themselves into the American NXT. And I love the fact that the crowd are behind them in terms of hatred.
Behind hating them.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy. Like, Gibson and Drake are great.
There are fewer wrestlers that I can think of than Zach Gibson who are so good at getting heat. The right sort of heat, not the kind of, we're bored of you, just go away heat. The actual, no, we want to boo this person heat.
Full Sail even tried. They even tried to do the shoes off if you hate Gibson thing.
Not a fan of that one.
But do you not like the chant at all?
No.
No, because they did it in UK and it's...
No, I don't. I know, I don't like
fun.
it.
Why?
I was at Progress's Wembley show. And everyone's doing it, and I don't want loads of smelly shoes about them.
It depends. The logistics of the shoe you have on as well plays a big part for me. Because
You
I've
wear
got
it.
certain shoes that can just slip on and off, but certain shoes you need to sit down and then tie the laces.
Yeah, if in doubt.
I'm not doing that in the middle of
take
an arena.
slip-on
You don't hate him enough for that.
No, not got time for that, Chief.
Tegan Knox is the new #1 contender for the women's.
Nobody
No,
cares.
sorry, she's progressed in the.
She's in the
tournament.
ladder match.
Sorry, yeah, she's in the
her
ladder
and
match.
Mia Yim both qualified.
Yeah, Mia Yim
on
qualified.
NXT.
She beat Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
Surprising.
But then the moment that Mia Yim won, Raquel Gonzalez just clattered Mia Yim. So whether there's a story going in there, I quite like the idea that Mia Yim is just gonna on the weekly get battered by Raquel Gonzalez to the point where Dakota Kai goes, "Hey, remember when you replaced me in the War Games match? I'm replacing you in the ladder match."
Right. Or
Da-da.
I think she's just going to cost poor Tegan in the ladder match.
Possibly. Tegan had a shoulder bandage on.
Okay.
It's like, and I'm hoping it's a storyline thing because, like someone said to me on Twitter, she's turning into the Black Knight from the Holy Grail. Is Tegan Nox too bad, too blessed, 2 operations on her knees? If her shoulders go in as well, I'll bite your legs off.
Lovely woman. Great
I love
wrestler.
her. She's so
Fantastic.
good. And you can tell they got
Hopes
big plans for her as well.
I know.
Was it when she won that match on this week's NXT? Because I watched NXT through the YouTube clips this week, which is a bad way to do it. I couldn't get a feel for the show whatsoever. But when she won, there was no noise whatsoever.
I know. It was a very short match.
Very short and very sudden. Which again leads me to be concerned that that's a legit injury because it was such a short affair. It was just Diana Perazzo just battering Tegan for a bit. Shiniest wizard done. Thanks, bye. Maybe,
but I'd like to think it's because there was a lot on this show as well. It's quite packed.
Yeah.
Then there was the main segment where Ciampa is in the ring, Gargano's on the Tron, they're cutting a promo on each other, and Ciampa thinks, why am I standing here? This is a performance center. I know where he is. I know what room that is. So he goes and finds him, and they brawl everywhere. They brawl through the meeting room, the medical room, the big gym. There's things being broken. Ciampa gets thrown through a door. It's fantastic.
There's a bit where Ciampa throws a dumbbell at the mirror in the gym, which is the last thing WWE needs right now is 7 years of bad luck.
I know. I can't believe he did that. I'm a big fan of. I might if I end up doing that NXT show in a predictions contest, might just go against Ciampa no matter what's happened before that in the build up because I'm a big believer in superstition in wrestling. I think when someone ducks under a ladder in a ladder match, probably going to lose that ladder match. Lose that ladder. They brawl all the way up to that platform. Velveteen Dream was on that earlier, cutting a promo saying this was never about Roddy Strong. It was about Adam Cole. I don't care about Roddy Strong's family. I'm not a dick, really, guys.
It's really... Do you know what?
Retconned quite a lot.
Yeah, last week was weird because last week you had a moment where Velveteen Dream realised Adam Cole was in the cage.
That was great.
Oh, push you out, Roddy. All right, you in the match. I've got Cole. I thought, okay, that's a good little plan. Good. But when he went out and went, for the last month, this has always been the plan, that eventually maybe they'll have a steel cage match on NXT and I'll say, leave the cage up. And then Adam Cole will get in the cage. Far too convoluted.
Yeah, I thought it was as well. But they battle Ciampa and Gargano up to that platform that Dream was on, the one above the commentary table. Ciampa's getting beaten up by Johnny. Mauro's terrified. Ciampa fires up, air raid crash on Johnny off the platform through the announce table. Looked like a really scary bug.
Yeah, it was terrifying. Huh?
Regal comes out and nearly books War Games again. He's that angry.
Regal is fantastic when he's angry.
What are you doing?
Yeah, it's quite a good Regal.
War Games.
Never in all my life. No, I can't.
With every bit of venom in my being.
I like when he does his quiet, angry voice. It's really good. Can you do a Regal?
No.
Okay.
I can do a shouty War Games Regal.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it here. I'll break everybody's ears.
So that was This Week in Wrestling. Any other wrestling you're at the time of people watching this, you're probably getting battered as we speak by HT Drake and Little Miss Roxy.
MEW. Can I recommend everybody watch NWA Circle Squared this week?
Oh.
Because I'm on it. So that's nice.
I should mention as well that Simon Miller was on Dynamite.
Of course he was.
Because he's auditioning to become Sean Spears' tag partner. And a lot of lads in that audition tape were in really good shape. So
my favourite one, though, he's the guy in the car. And he's like, I'm 5'4", and that means, what did he say? I've forgotten the full quote. It's something. I'm 5'4", and that means I'm something. That
means I can ride Space Mountain.
It was good. But I thought Simon did well.
So I hope Simon gets picked for that.
I think it's going to be one of the trainees from his training school, surely.
Whose school?
Sean Spears' school.
Oh, Sean Spears' school.
Not Simon Miller's school.
Oh, yeah. Nah, I just pick Simon. He's got more Twitter followers than them.
Yeah, that's true.
Better for business, isn't it?
Very true.
And he's a nice man.
He is.
He's jacked.
Pick Jen.
Good wrestling.
All the legends will come along.
We'll tag with you, Jen.
That was this. I feel bad because she's a really nice person. She doesn't deserve these
legends
quips.
saying nice things about her.
No. She doesn't deserve us
these dirty old men
slyly laughing at it. You know. That was This Week in the Wrestling.
Let's have a rummage in our mailbags.
Let's have a rummage in our mailbags, as Cal says in the little fills in between. What do you call them in radio?
Inserts, jingles,
Oh,
sweepers.
Yeah. Ooh, loads of names.
Sweepers.
Beds? No, beds are lying underneath.
The beds on the
like when the news is being read and there's like a
Yeah, it's the news bed.
Okay.
A sweeper, I would say.
Fair enough. The radio terminology's coming out. First one, this is from Lewis from Portugal. Hey lads, quick question. Now, Ross picks these, right? And I feel like he thought this may have raised a smile, but it's a really brutal question. Lewis from Portugal. Hey, lads, quick question. Can The Undertaker take a Styles Clash without breaking his neck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can do anything.
Yeah.
He's the phenom.
I don't think this one is too much about The Undertaker. It's about the size difference.
Yes.
It's not about The Undertaker's age.
He's a long man.
I think
and Styles is less of a long man.
I think Undertaker's got all the experience to remember to go like that instead of like that when the moves hit. But he's very tall and Styles is not.
I would like to see it tried. Just, just to see what would happen.
But he did it to Cena and Cena's head brushed the canvas.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Are we talking Styles Clash from AJ or Michelle McCool?
She's quite tall.
She'd be alright, wouldn't she?
Why would she turn on her husband?
She must be taller than
Oh my
AJ.
God.
She must be what?
Michelle must be taller than AJ.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she was taller
Yeah.
than AJ. She's a tall woman.
You're not enough for me.
No.
No.
It really went for it. That was
What a theme song that is.
good. I don't know if they should. I don't think they'll do it. I think you'll set up for it and then won't do it.
I have no doubt that Undertaker knows to put his head down.
Oh,
but
Tom, up.
Yeah, up.
Never. I hope you're not taking one tonight.
Well, you'll know because I won't be here Monday. Yeah, I hope Undertaker knows to put his head up. I'm sure he does, but also, Undertaker knows how to hold somebody for a tombstone, how to pick somebody up for a chokeslam, and they haven't always been particularly grand lately.
Very true.
I don't think they need to involve the Styles Clash in that match. I think they can have a great match without using it.
Super Styles Clash, WrestleMania moment.
Through a table.
Yeah.
On fire.
Yeah, just off the other side of the turnbuckle, of course, not into the ring, out of the ring, through the announce table, into a vortex.
Thank you, Lewis from Portugal. Hello, Matthew, Jack, Ross, Adam, or whoever is present. They're new.
Oh,
They knew
hello.
that it might not necessarily be the regs. It's Tom as well. A couple of days ago, I remembered the Bloodhound Gang exists, and I'm not talking about some weird indie wrestling stable. I'm talking about the band, Foxtrot, Uniform, Charlie Kilo, and The Bad Touch are the only two songs that I know by
I
now.
Hope You Die. That one.
Tiss.
Oh, there's one with all Ralph Wiggum quotes as well. Anyway.
Dear Chasey Lane.
I know that one.
Along came Mary.
I don't know that many songs.
Mary.
So I Googled a bit and found out they don't exist anymore. With a tear in my eye, I did a bit more research and found out that Evil Jared, the bassist, started wrestling a few months ago. Just don't expect too much if you're going to look them up. No, we know the Bloodhound Gang. So that boring story, stop putting yourself down. It's from Daniel. Stop putting yourself down, Daniel. So that boring story leads to my question. What do you think would be the best non-sports or MMA celebrity wrestler? Mine would be prime Till Lindemann, as he was a beast, has charisma, a compelling voice, and can make his own theme music. Love your podcast, and always look forward to it after watching Dynamite. Greetings from Germany. Oh, and please make Jack say, oh, they've got a tongue twister here in German. I think I've seen this before. I think it means like something catches fresh fish, but it's Fischer's Fritzer, fished Frischer, Fischer, Frischer, Fischer, fished Fischer's Fritzer. From
Nailed
Daniel. Yours forever, he says, Daniel.
Nailed it.
Yep. I hope there's not a swear word in there. Yeah, that was... so the question is, who would be the best non-sports MMA celebrity to do wrestling right now?
Best non-sports.
Now, we've got the obvious choices on this podcast will be... I'm sure you're thinking of Dave Benson Phillips, but he's done
Well, no,
it.
because he's a wrestler.
Yeah, he
I
is,
can't
yeah.
pick him. He's 30 years in the business as we're sat here now.
It's quite... You need someone charismatic, I think, first and foremost.
Yeah, so somebody with like a presenting ability, somebody who can carry themselves on a mic if required. Could you not
The
have?
level of thought going into this.
I know.
I
it's
know.
really- You're good because you're putting in more... You're giving these questions a lot more respect than we usually do. Like, Matthew's often like ridiculing them as he reads it.
Yeah.
He reads out their spelling mistakes and everything, and then he's like, "Not sure about that."
Oh.
Like, oh, these are
No, but there's something in it because there's obviously, wrestling always likes to try and find the next big crossover star. So it's good to find somebody. Who have you guys got? 'Cause I'm still thinking.
I'm struggling as well.
Do
It's a difficult one. I think it's probably got to be like an actor.
you know what? Okay. In terms of heat magnet, somebody who could really get a big reaction. Kay Burley from Sky News.
I was so worried you were going to say. I was
what
so
an
worried you were going to
unbearable
say like a
woman.
dictator or something. But
No.
yeah, Kay Burley. Yeah,
Kay Burley from
Yeah,
Sky
yeah, yeah.
News. Whether you love her or hate her, that's down to
Who
you.
loves her?
There'll be people. I don't know. So,
family,
hey, world's a wonderful place. But Kay Burley could be somebody who could genuinely attract a bit of heat.
Yeah.
Kay, but she's obviously not trained to be a wrestler, and I'm sure,
Anne Robinson.
Oh, as a GM.
Yeah. Anne Robinson. Yeah,
yes.
she's getting on a bit to wrestle. And she always broke kayfabe at the end of the weakest link, didn't she? This has been. What did she say? Yeah.
Join us again for the weakest link.
Yeah. Goodbye. I didn't mean all those nasty things I said.
Give a sassy wink, and men around the world would slaver on themselves.
Would they?
I don't know.
Again, it's a wonderful world.
Yeah.
There's something for everybody.
I'll say Anne Robinson.
Anne Robinson.
Will the Americans know who I mean? Yeah, they will.
Yeah,
She did
the weakest link was over there. Yeah.
Over in America, it's weird. It has a laughter track. So peculiar.
Had a live audience there.
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah.
I was over there once, and they had it was part of a comedy block on one channel, and the voice there went, "Laugh out loud with the weakest link." No, you've lost the entire like the core of the program. It's not a funny program.
No. Yeah, it's an uncomfortable program.
Yeah, it's meant to make you feel like your toes are curling inside out.
Chris Tarrant would be fantastic in wrestling.
You deserve a title shot.
Yeah.
But we don't want to give you that.
That's a fantastic.
Get yourself in a ladder
That's a
match.
good Chris Tarrant impression. I'm trying to think of someone like.
Paul Hollywood is up there for me. The eyes on that man. He'd be like 1987 Jake the Snake Roberts in his promos.
I watched Celebrity Bake Off the other night. I was forced to.
I've not seen it yet.
Wasn't my
don't want
choice.
spoilers.
All right, well, I'm just saying that someone gets a handshake after the first round.
That is
I
unprecedented.
know who.
Well, the thing is, it's celebrity, so apparently they're kinder to the celebrity ones than they are the.
It's actually somebody with a bit of a wrestling connection.
Yes, they'd be good without saying who it is. I'd like to see them.
Is it Louis Theroux?
Oh, balls.
Waldo's the name. London, England's the place of origin.
Louis would be.
Can I beat him? I hope so.
He's done a bit of wrestling.
He's
hasn't
done a
he?
bit of
He
wrestling.
got made to throw up by Sarge at the power plant.
What a bully.
Yeah.
How do you do that to Louis?
I know.
And Raven as well, giving Louis some sass.
I know.
Shouldn't you know who I am if you're going to continue with this endeavour?
Louis did a really good line on Bake Off, which makes me think that he'd be a good promo. He's like trying to squeeze like cream out of like a pipe in like a thing, and he's like, "Oh, it's too difficult," and then something explodes, and he goes, "Too much pressure in the nozzle, too much pressure on the man." It's like, that's brilliant.
Him as a
He's so
backstage
good.
interviewer would be quite interesting. He's like, I'm going to beat that guy in a cage. Why do you feel that's a good
Why do you
idea?
want to do that to someone?
By the end of it, everyone's friends.
Louis Theroux, Anne Robinson,
Kay Burley from Sky News.
Mr.
Paul
Bean can
Hollywood.
take a bump.
Right.
What's he called from Some Mothers Do Have Him? Frank
Frank
Oh,
Spencer.
Spencer.
wow.
He'd be bumping all over the
To be
shop.
accompanied to the ring by Betty. And the cat that's done a whoopsie.
I used to
You just
fancy
imagine some
Betty.
heel cutting a promo and he's just like, oh, whoa, whoa.
He's coming down on his roller skates.
Him and Darby Allin's a tag team. Darby on the skateboard. Frank Spencer on the bloody.
Oh, yeah.
He did that all by himself, you know.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
man.
That's amazing.
I
his
used
own
to.
stunts.
I think Betty might have been one of my first crushes as a
I
child.
fancied
I
Betty
thought she
as
was a
well,
really
yeah.
pretty woman. Yeah,
Betty
but
was
in an
lovely.
innocent, childlike way. I just thought she was really pretty.
Oh, she's fit as.
Oh no, you've ruined it.
On a similar note, Annika Rice.
Annika who?
Annika
Why?
Rice.
Oh.
From off of Challenge Annika. No, in terms of like both somebody I had a little bit of a thing for.
Did you?
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, this is a
It
bit
was
of a
that-
generation.
it was that
gap.
jumpsuit,
A little
baby.
bit. You are a little bit older, not loads.
36 years old.
Oh, you don't look.
I'm the elder
You
statesman
look younger
of
than
Cultaholic.
36, to be fair.
35, thank you. But also, Annika Rice is a wrestler. I bet she could bust out a brilliant Hurricane Rana.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a good one. Neil Buchanan, because he seems like the sort of person we mentioned, but we haven't yet. Neil Buchanan as well.
Finish is called The Art Attack.
Thank you, Daniel. Very good. Hello, fellow wrestling-liking people. Here is a question for the mailbag. I'm a UK primary school teacher. There's
Like a whole school.
and that's from St Joseph's
Look at this
Primary.
man. Look at this man dressed as a school.
Now, he says, I'm a UK primary school, and then there's some brackets, but I got confused. I'm a UK primary school teacher, year 2, which is 6 and 7-year-olds, if you're not familiar with, if you're from outside the UK. And I found out that one of the girls was a big wrestling fan. When I asked who her favourite wrestlers were, she was unimpressed with my John Morrison and Sasha Banks picks. She surprised me by... Seamless from me here. By picking The Revival. Oh, she's a smark.
What?
Got a young smark in our midst. What surprised me even more... Oh, well, she's not called a Cultaholic fan. I don't know why I said in our midst.
I love the work rate.
Yeah. It's like
Can you
calling-
imagine a 6-year-old saying that?
What surprised me even more was when she said that she hoped that they would go to AEW because she loves the Young Bucks too. Not an uber smart then, because they're going around the other way and they don't like the Young Bucks anymore. Has there ever been a time when you've been surprised by someone having more knowledge of wrestling than you would have thought? Keep up the great work. You guys really do make wrestling fun, even when it isn't. Thanks again, Mr. J.
I remember being at a bar a few years ago. I went to the bar, and there was a guy he'd had a bit to drink, and he was just saying, he said, it's a busy week. I broke my hand last month, and it's the first time I'm going to use it again. I said, I'm pleased for you. Random stranger. Yeah, he went, yeah, I'm a wrestler, you see. It's like, are you? And I thought, I'm not going to, yeah, I'm a wrestler. And he started talking about, when would this been? Like, oh gosh, because I am old, like early 2000s.
Can I just say, I can't wait for the second half of this story.
It gets better. So he starts talking about like, oh yeah. I said, do you watch the wrestling? Yeah. The Rock's fighting the Undertaker next week. And he was on Raw. It's all good. And he was like, yeah, I'm trained to be a wrestler myself. Had a match the other week with Yokozuna. Which is, I don't think...
When was this, sorry?
This was 2000. I think he was a bit dead. And it got better, and I went, oh, yeah, cool. I said, he's a big lad, isn't he? He said, yeah, he's 400 pounds, so I broke my arm. Cool. And then he went, week before that, wrestled Andre the Giant. Now, my dad had always told me to not try and be a smart aleck with a drunk man in a pub.
Yeah.
'Cause normally you get a chin in.
Yeah.
So I went, really? And I just went, not knowing what I knew, is he still wrestling? And the guy just went, yeah, it was just retirement match. And then walked off, and I never saw him again.
And that man was terrible.
In front of 83,000 people.
So you've actually...
So mine was the opposite story.
Yeah.
Really. It started off as a man who knew a lot about wrestling. There was a brief bit of discussion on 2000, followed by I wrestled Andre the Giant.
In fairness, I've got a similar story, which I can tell, because I can't quite think of one at the minute.
Go on.
Yeah, because I don't like to... I think in this line of work, honestly, I went to watch the Royal Rumble at Asper's Casino, and there was a quiz on beforehand, which was compared by Sweet Stevie Aaron. So I was absolutely right. As I walked in, right, and it was a bit of an awkward situation because I'd sorted something out with the person running it. So I just had to sort of say, oh, so-and-so says it's all right if I come in, and I've got +1. And I hate those sort of situations because I'm so scared that they're going to be like, nothing here, mate, see you later, bye. Yeah. And then I'm going to have to be like, oh, fair enough then, because I don't want to be a knob and be like, I'm Jack the Jobber, so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as I'm walking in, still stressed out from that situation, but it all went fine. Walked in, and then I just hear his voice over the PA going, get out, you bard! Go on, get him out of here! And I'm like, oh Christ, it was just Steve just playing a riff.
Stevie being banterful.
But the quiz showed me that, like, in these sort of situations, people expect us to know everything about wrestling, and I'd say 50% of people in that bar knew way more than me, just judging by the answers they were getting on those quizzes. On the quiz questions. So I don't like to assume that anyone, I'll never try and be like, oh God, they know more than I thought. Because quite often they know more than I do.
More often they do
But I remember in primary school, I've got a similar one to you. But you know, when you're a kid, you're like sort of, very young, like 6. So people just lie and just say stuff. Like the classic, oh, my cousin's got a Nintendo 65. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I knew him.
2 people from my school, and I remember who it was. It was a girl called Louise and a lad called Scott.
Surnames, please.
Nope. And they claimed that they'd, because I got one of them on Facebook, so I don't want to...
Redknapp and Stapp.
Yes. So they claimed that they'd both been round... They didn't even say a building. They'd just both been on a tour of WWF. They'd been round. And so Louise claimed that she'd had a little match with Lita, but she'd given her a pedigree and hurt her too much. She'd hurt Lita too much.
I should have asked her about that.
Do you remember getting battered by a 7-year-old? She'd given Lita a pedigree, and it hurt Lita too much, so that had to be called off. Scott claims that he just walked into a room backstage, and Gilbert was in there going like, ah! And then he just shut the door. That was Scott's story. So
I like how he went. He didn't go too far with the line.
Yeah,
kept it vaguely
more
believable.
Scott was one of my mates at the time who I eventually just drifted from because he would lie a lot. And also at one lesson he tried to put he sharpened a pencil and put it in my ear, like in the end of my ear.
Scott sounds like he'd get on with Kevin Nash.
Yeah, Scott was it turns out a bit of a nasty boy.
Yeah.
But it's all right because I shouldn't have done this, and don't do this if you're a younger person at school. When he stood up to answer a question or something, So this is the same lesson that he did.
Please
that to
say you
me.
kegged him.
I didn't keg him. I just slid his chair out from beneath him, and then when he sat down, he like proper went. But that's dangerous, so don't do that. But don't put pencils in people's ears either, Scott.
Or thumbs. I've still got lead in my thumb. See that little grey spot there?
Ooh.
That is pencil lead, which was put in my thumb in the year 2000. I was stabbed by David Newland.
He's just saying it. Oh dear.
I've not seen him since, to be fair. He moved school soon.
No one has.
But
Oh dear.
I was in there for 2 hours with some woman with bloody.
Is that not dangerous to have lead in your system for 20 years?
Pencil lead's in there. It's just been in there forever.
It's probably not enough to poison him.
Skin's been.
I don't know. It might slowly be poisoning.
Oh well.
Well, he thought he was a king for 2 years.
I suppose.
Ross, have you got an answer to this question?
No, I haven't.
Neither of
I'm
us have answered this question.
Just going to throw it out there. Lewis Capaldi watches us, and I didn't expect that. So
Nice.
Lewis Capaldi watch. Does he anymore?
I
Because he
don't
might
know.
be. He's probably busy now.
I imagine.
But he'd be traveling around a lot.
I imagine he just watched a video with Jen, maybe, and thought,
No,
those
no.
other guys are there as
Happy
well.
birthday, Jen.
No, because I remember when we were all like, this lad, and it was before he was like mega star big. It was just when someone you loved was about to like take over the world. And I remember being like, I don't know if this is true or not. So someone tagged me in the same tweet as him, and I said like, they put, oh Jack, you're a musician as well, aren't you? Because I'm not. And I put, no, I'm not. Ha. And then Lewis Capaldi replied, that's not something I'd expect the frontman of American Rachel to say. He knows the in-jokes.
Aye.
He knows the lore of the channel.
Aye.
He knows it.
And he
knows
hasn't muted us on Twitter because I got a like. Wait, because you just assume that people like that follow the mute straight
Amazing.
away. I got a like last week, so it's still there. Hello, Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis, mate.
How are Lou?
You all right?
Louie Lou.
Oh God! You told me that he likes listening to the podcast because it calms his anxiety, and now I feel like the fact that we're talking, he's going to be like,
Who
oh,
Lewis
God.
Capaldi does?
Yeah, he said it.
Does he?
Yeah, in a nice way.
I never knew
Yeah,
that.
he talks quite a lot about like mental health and how we should all be nice to each other. He seems like a lovely lad.
Yeah, I know he does.
really
Yeah,
does.
I kind of believe it, me.
What?
I just never. You wouldn't expect it, would you?
Well, because he's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
No, I mean like him knowing us
oh, I know.
or knowing of us.
I know. It's
Yeah.
crazy, isn't it?
Aye.
Ah,
That was my angle there.
what a guy. So
That's
we've turned
fell flat,
so
hasn't it?
apologies to Mr. J because we've turned your lovely question and probably something you were going to try and like impress the kids in your class with into just us talking about Lewis Capaldi. And I'm sorry, Mr. J.
I should probably Newcastle United players back in the day went to a house show. How was that?
Yeah.
Jermaine Jennings, Titus Bramble, Kieran Dyer. There's some people who probably know more about wrestling than you'd think.
Really? 'Cause they went.
Because they were there.
I
Kieran Dyer got to hold the world title or something.
I imagine that Janice was watching quite closely
Why?
because he's a bit analytical, isn't he? But I imagine that Titus had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
As a former Sunderland player as well, he's not.
I met him in the lift as well.
Did you?
At the gate, yeah. His chest is huge.
Is he a big man?
Yeah, because I was like 13 maybe at a push, and my head was like where his nibble was, and it's just his chest came out there. Astonishing specimen of a man.
But not the most composed defender in the world. But
Oh, rash.
yeah. That was the mailbag. If you've got any questions you want to submit to the mailbag, you can do at mailbag@cultaholic.com. And now it's time for Reese's Pieces. Howdy, lads. Reese's Pieces has become my favourite segment on the podcast, and I wanted to take a swing at an inter-promotional Dream Match edition, where I offer a selection of matchups between wrestlers in rival promotions. For the purposes of this, assume that this is them at their best and most popular, them at their peak, not necessarily at their current state. Whether it's a one-off dream match or a full feud, I'll leave it to your own imaginations, and feel free to imagine any stipulation for the matchup that you'd like. Full disclosure, this is mainly an excuse to get one specific dream match of mine out there for discussion. Bonus points if you can guess which one it is. It's going to be the weird one, isn't it?
Probably
the weird one. Anyway, on with it. Right, so Tom, are you familiar with Reese's Pieces?
I am, but if people are watching for the first time,
Very good, very good.
How do we play Reese's
So it's
Pieces?
fastest thought first. So we're going to go around in a circle. Tom, then Ross, then myself. And I'm going to read out an option, and then you're just going to choose your favourite one. Immediately, gut instinct, what's your favourite one?
Okie dokie, that sounds cool.
Number 1, The New Day versus The Elite, Kenny and the Bucks, so like a trios feud. Or The New Day versus Villain Enterprises.
New Day Elite.
The former.
Yes, New Day Elite also for me. Think of the computer game references that they I like Villain Enterprises too, though. The Young Bucks versus the Revival, or the Usos versus the Briscoes?
Young Bucks versus Revival.
The former.
Yeah, Young Bucks versus the Revival. That's one that could possibly happen. And
Yeah,
I'm really
very likely.
Really looking forward to it as well. R-Truth versus Orange Cassidy, or Marco Stunt versus Hornswoggle?
R-Truth, Orange Cassidy.
The former.
I might go for... no, it's got to be Orange Cassidy.
It's got to be
versus-
Truth and Cassidy.
No, I'm enjoying Orange Cassidy mixing it up with these more serious wrestlers now. So I'm going to go for Marco Stunt versus Hornswoggle. I like Hornswoggle. Seems like a nice man. I've met him. He was a nice man. Asuka versus Su Yung, or Asuka versus Rosemary. So like creepy gimmicks kind of thing.
Asuka versus Rosemary.
Rosemary.
Rosemary, I don't want to see Asuka get dragged into that world where she's got to be scared of stuff. Yeah. Buddy Murphy versus Will Ospreay, or Buddy Murphy versus Kota Ibushi?
Oh, Murphy Ibushi.
Murphy Osprey.
Murphy Ibushi.
But more importantly, Murphy Omega.
Yeah. That'll lead to that.
Because that's what he is, isn't he? Everyone. He's a Poundland Kenny Omega.
Alistair Black versus Minoru Suzuki, or Alistair Black versus Alistair Pack. Alistair Black
Alistair Black versus
Pac.
Alistair Pack.
Thought it'd be funny, but it didn't
Glad
work.
we did
Alistair
that.
Black versus Pac, or Alistair Black versus Minoru Suzuki?
Black Suzuki.
Suzuki.
Suzuki. We've seen Alistair Black versus Pac at a UK tournament.
Oh,
event.
yeah. That was Tommy N. That was a different man.
Yeah.
And it was Neville. That's a different man.
MJF versus Rusev, or MJF versus Matt Riddle?
Jeff Riddle.
Ultimate twink off, innit? Rusev and MJF.
Rusev's not a twink.
Oh,
Rusev's not a twink.
What weird planet is Rusev a
Rusev's a
twink?
big bear of a man. He's
he's
not
a
twink.
handsome bastard.
Yeah, he is. He is. I'm going to go for Riddle. I think the implication here is that Riddle would batter MJF, and everyone would like to see it. So I'm going to go for that one. The Bullet Club versus the Shield, or the Bullet Club versus the Undisputed Era?
Bullet Club era.
Era.
Oh, I can't decide. Era. Yeah. But
Era.
I'm not happy because they're both smarmy. You want to...
I like Battle of the
Big
Smarms.
smarm off.
Smarm off.
Jay White versus Volta, or Jay White versus Finn Balor?
Oh, White and Balor.
Volta.
Volta as well. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Daniel Bryan, or Zack Sabre Jr. versus Johnny Gargano?
Oh, Zack and Bry.
D-Bry all
Zack and
day.
Bryan, yeah.
D-Bry.
Velveteen Dream, as Ross would say, versus Dalton Castle, or Velveteen Dream versus Cody?
Oh, Dream and Castle.
Castle.
That'd
Yeah.
be fun.
That's
No.
a feud, that.
Cody, because Cody's feuds are really good. So I'm going to go for the feud. Joe Hendry, local hero, versus Adam Cole, baby. Or the prestigious one, Joe Hendry, versus, so that's like heel Hendry, I guess, versus Keith Lee.
Lee. Hendry Lee.
Lee to take
Hendry.
down those
Hendry
bastards.
Lee.
I'm going to go for Lee Hendry as well.
Those bastards in the Prestige.
Okay.
Keith can take them down once and for all.
Travis Banks, bang. Joe Coffey, Spirit Bomb. Who else?
El Ligero,
BT Gunn,
ruining that World Cup. How dare you?
Stevie Aaron, come here. He was definitely a member. He was a member of
No,
the
he
Prestige. They cut a promo after Stevie Aaron joined the Prestige, specifying he's not actually a proper member of the Prestige. Poor Stevie.
Stevie would be gutted. I am in the Prestige.
Yeah, he was. And Henry
Got
was
a
like,
t-shirt.
Henry was like, he just gets like the teas and the coffees and that. Andrade versus Pentagon, or Andrade versus Jay Lethal?
Andrade Pentagon.
Pentagon, but you always forget about Jay Lethal, and I feel like I want to see him in a different promotion now. Come on. Tessa Blanchard versus Charlotte, or Tessa Blanchard versus Becky?
Tessa Blanchard. Becky.
Charlotte.
Becky. The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus the villain Marty Scurll, or the Fiend with some kind of mallet versus the entire Dark Order? Just
Something comical about the... Yes, on it. Fiend Dark Order.
Yeah, the mallet.
Why
Everyone
would
loves
them
the
all
go
mallet.
on, the mallet. We'll go for the mallet. Not finally, sorry. Jordan Grace versus Rhea Ripley, or Jordan Grace versus actual cannibal Shayna Baszler? Actual cannibal Shayna Baszler.
Grace and Baszler.
Ripley, I'm going to go with. Their
Baszler.
styles will mesh
That's
better.
fair enough. It's a close one. I'll go for Baszler. Kenny Omega versus Seth Rollins, or Kenny Omega versus Kevin Owens?
Omega and Rollins.
Rollins, I think, is the better matchup there. Ciampa versus Takahashi. Oh, that's a weird one. Ciampa versus Takahashi, or Ciampa versus Jericho. Not sure what the connection there is, but fair enough.
Ciampa Jericho.
Jericho, yeah.
Jericho, because I worry about Ciampa's neck, and Takahashi's got a lot of neck-based offense. John Cena versus Nick Aldis, or John Cena versus Tanahashi. Sorry, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the John Cena of New Japan.
Cena Tanahashi.
Yeah, it's
Tanahashi.
Cena Tanahashi.
Sorry, Aldous.
And finally, if I can separate the paper from the other bit. Come on.
You got this. Wet your fingers.
I did it.
Don't touch your fingers at the same time.
Finally, Roman Reigns versus Kazuchika Okada, or Roman Reigns versus Jon Moxley.
Reigns Okada. We've seen Reigns Moxley before.
We haven't seen Reigns Moxley. Moxley. No.
Reigns Moxley. WWE. AEW.
What's going to seen that Ambrose fella? That's a different kettle of
Fair
fish.
point.
Sorry if that was a bit long, but thank you for all the great content that helps me get through my commute to and from work every day. Thanks to you, James from Texas. Thank you very much, James. That was good. Which one do we think was his? I think his dream feud was Ciampa Takahashi, because that was the weird one where I went, oh.
Well, yeah, because Ciampa Jericho came up.
Maybe that one.
Maybe I feel like it's that one.
I feel like it also could have been Suzuki versus was it Aleister Black? Maybe. But, you know,
who knows?
Good selection there from Reese's Pieces. Thank you very much to James from Texas. And if you want to submit your own Reese's Pieces, you can do so at the same address as the regular mailbag. That's mailbag@cultaholic.com.
It's Cultaholic's
Big Question. And finally, it's time for the big question, or as Matthew would say, the big question.
Show.
That's what he does. Is that
the parody is?
He's doing the mashup theme of Big Show and is it Miz or Jericho? Jericho. So the big question this week is, obviously, should WrestleMania be cancelled? And as we were just resetting the camera for another round of filming here, Ross checked his phone and noticed something.
The Premier League's been suspended, which means all of the sport just about gone.
I think at this stage, they can't not cancel Mania, man.
It's the thing. It's a very hard thing to talk about because on one hand, we kind of go too overboard because it's changing day by day.
We don't know what's
so
going to
quickly,
happen,
so we don't know what it's going to be like.
It could change between us recording this.
It could be gone in 3 weeks. We never know, but it could be 10 times worse. That's
Yeah.
the game we're playing. But also, I'm thinking just from a purely fans' perspective, and WrestleMania being this global event, surely it's better for everyone's travel plans and money and everything for them to just say, right, we're going to postpone it, take it back a few months. Hopefully, it'll be gone. But like, just sort your travel plans out around that, because
I agree.
It seems a bit unfair just leaving it week on week, doesn't it?
See, I played Devil's Avocado a bit on the news this morning, in the sense that this time last week, when you guys sat down to do the podcast, was the pandemic a topic?
It wasn't even a pandemic then. Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
So a week, like 1 week ago, like there wasn't any conversation. Obviously, we were aware that there was something around and there was something happening. But 1 week on, like literally in the last 72 hours. So now the Premier League suspended, the NBA's been suspended.
Loads of leagues are gone.
Pretty much all major sporting events have been called off. Yeah. WrestleMania is still 3 weeks away at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it's a case of WWE just holding off as long as possible,
just to see what
happens this time next week. Because I genuinely thought we'd have an answer by now as to what was happening. But Jane Castor, the mayor of Tampa, has said that we don't want to make a decision on events that are weeks in the future. So they're going to sit down again next week and make a decision. By which there's part of me that thinks they won't.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Surely
I think the right decision is to call time on it and reset everything. But I genuinely don't think. I think it sounds really bad, but I think money would talk.
Right.
Sounds really bad.
You don't think they cancel it, or you don't think they make a decision?
I think they will keep it on.
I think that they'll be forced to. I think that the city will want to keep it on because of the revenue it would bring to the city. Yeah. But I think that they might, on like more of a wide, like nationwide level, they might say nah. Like they might call a stop to all. I don't know how the government works in America. I don't know if the overall government has the authority to do that.
It's sort of leaning towards their. I mean, everybody's different. I mean, like the state of Ohio, the governor of Ohio has said no events, no public events to be attended.
Yeah. And that's a rule, or is that a suggestion?
That's them going, in Ohio, this is what's happening.
That's actual
like
law, right?
I believe SmackDown being cancelled is a rule from Detroit.
Yeah.
That's come from them. And so WWE had to kind of react to that and go, okay, well,
Yeah.
Performance Center. But like having said that, like the governor of Florida has said, he put out a thing that said there should be no public gatherings for the next 30 days.
Yeah.
So that's the governor of Florida, despite the fact that AEW next week has now been moved to Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
So like, which are you doing here?
It's
Where are you
weird,
going
isn't
with
it?
it? But despite all this, I think that they're holding off because they desperately, like you say, with the I think something like WrestleMania brings in an average locally of $150 million in revenue.
Wow.
It's a huge amount of money that
Yeah.
WrestleMania brings to a city, to a state, which is why they are reluctant to cancel it. I think they will do everything in their power to keep it on.
I think they will too, but I think in the end, maybe either by a higher, sort of not a higher power in that sense, not by Vince, but by a different higher power saying, no, you can't do that, or by, or just by, I guess, the weight of pressure of everything else stopping for a bit. I can't see it going
That's the
ahead.
thing, and it's just weird how all these other major sporting and just general gatherings are going, but WrestleMania is surviving,
And it's huge.
and it's bigger than most of these other things.
It's
are getting.
huge
Yeah.
as well. We've been to ones where it's like, that one in Dallas was like approaching 100,000 people. It was huge. So yeah, and it's not even just, I remember reading something where it was like, you're not really going to catch it if you're sat in a stadium, an outdoor thing, like you're not, but it's not really the event itself. It's the transport to and from it's everything, you know what I mean? We've been lucky enough to see WrestleMania twice, and it's not even just the event. Like the city gets taken over by fans. You can't walk down a block without seeing a group of wrestling fans.
It's like the wrestling version of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
And I think there was the thing that came out yesterday that a case was found where they're holding access.
Yes.
So
In that
that's a bit,
convention centre.
you've got to take that into account as well.
Do.
Surely.
Well, I think we all agree then that it probably should be postponed. But then, as Tom mentioned, you never. This has been
It is
developing so
impossible
quickly.
to say at this point. Yeah.
You have an issue where if they do postpone WrestleMania, like the show must go on in some sense. The fact that SmackDown has been
You can't delay the feuds for 3
Well,
months.
that's it.
Yeah.
So we could potentially see. We could from this see something that as WWE fans, as wrestling fans, we've wanted to see for a long time, which is an off season.
Yeah, we could do.
We could
see
actually
that.
get an off season in
Yeah.
WWE as a result.
And then
of
we
this.
can do Sims House finally on the channel.
That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
what would we do in an off season?
Sims House.
Sims House.
We just have to think of creative new content, I guess, to give the fans. It would be an interesting way to see what we could do.
Yeah, but it's either it would be like if they go right, but you don't come into the stadium, no WrestleMania. They've got one or two options. Either they cancel WrestleMania, they move it later in the year, and have the matches sort of play out on television in some sort of haphazard way. Have Brock versus Drew as the main event of Raw.
No.
Oh, wow.
Because if you're going to keep the show going, you've got to somehow find a way. Or do we get, which I'm jumping at the bit for,
A Saudi Arabia WrestleMania.
No.
not even that, mate. WrestleMania at the Performance Center.
Wow. That would be quite something to see.
Bring the noise on that. I am here for that.
That
Put
would be good.
that in my veins.
But I would feel bad
Mania.
for everyone who, like Matthew and Jen, who want to go. Obviously.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah. I mean, I've got other Matthew and Jen. I've got other friends who are who are umming and ahhing about whether or not they
Yeah.
travel now. And
Yeah.
So it affects hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. But
Yeah.
it's not like it's being done out of malice. It's being done out
No.
like there is an outbreak, and it's
course.
a case of containing it and not putting people in danger. I
Yeah.
totally get if it ended up being cancelled. Totally understand why.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It would be a shame, but it would be in the best interest of everything. I feel more for the independent companies who are running that week
Yeah.
That's bad.
because there's so many that have bet the farm on these shows during WrestleMania week. Effie's Big Gay Brunch, which is happening, which looks like a huge LGBT plus show. Faye Jackson Sweatpants Invitational Battle Royal looks amazing. The Bullet Club Beach Party's already
That's
been
been cancelled.
cancelled. WXW, we're going to do a show for that week, and obviously because they can't fly out of Germany, that show's now been cancelled.
Yeah.
And it's all these independent companies that have thrown everything at this WrestleMania week, and it's all going to the wall. If we do anything this week, away from worrying about cancelling WrestleMania, support indie wrestling.
Yeah.
100%. Buy merch, subscribe to Pivot Shares, other on-demand services. Do stuff to support indie wrestling. Without
Very
a
good
doubt.
point. Well, that's a nice positive way to end on what was a weird big question segment, because we don't normally go that serious with it. It's normally like, oh, wasn't that a stupid angle from years gone by? This is quite a serious one. But thank you very much.
That's what we'll be saying in 5 years' time.
What?
That pandemic. Yes, I would have booked that one.
So thanks very much to Tom and Ross for joining me on the podcast. Matthew will be back very soon. And is there anything you want to plug?
Straight to hell with Lita and Gail Kim on Sunday, probably.
Brand new episode of the Cultaholic Classic Raw review with myself and Justin Henry on Saturday. And part 4, if you're subscribed to the podcast, of Wrestling in the 20s. I've been doing a series on wrestling during the start of the 1920s, the Gold Dust Trio, Ed Strangler Lewis, and the story behind those guys. And we dropped the 4th and final part on the podcast feed on Sunday night. I've really enjoyed doing it.
Lovely stuff. Well, thanks very much. And if you want to vote on the Hall of Fame, you can do it at patreon.com/cultaholic. And any mailbag questions or Reese's pieces can be sent to mailbag@cultaholic.com. Thanks very much for watching. Tom, we do this at the end now. Everyone put your hands in the middle, and then Matthew makes us all go, way, and tickle the balls. Join us.